Hello, everyone, and welcome to Geeky Geezers.
Yay! I don't know.
I am your host, Agent Boomer. This is my co-host, PaPa Pacelli.
Hello, hello.
What you sipping on?
I am sipping on a diet grapefruit soda.
A what?
A diet grapefruit soda?
Is it any good?
Yeah, it's squirt, but I don't. People freak out when I say squirt because it sounds weird.
Don't be saying squirt. This is a family program.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. But I have here a Canada Dry ginger ale, in case you were wondering.
I had just a little while ago had a ginger beer because my stomach was a little queasy, but
Yes.
but it worked its magic, and I'm moving on to the harder stuff, the grapefruit soda.
It's good for what ails you.
Absolutely, and I'm alcohol free because I got to work tomorrow.
Yeah, so am I. I have to work tomorrow as well. Didn't have to work on Saturday this weekend. That was nice. So I didn't have to worry about on Friday chatting up DC, the DC universe and whatnot. That was an interesting stream we had Friday with us or Torn, right?
Yeah, it was. I thought it was great, and I thought we talked about some great stuff. Gosh, what was really awesome was getting seeing Michael French from Retroblasting in there. That was like, man, so exciting.
Yeah. So let me say hi to the chat. We got Retro Blasting. Oh, right. You sent me his stuff before, I think. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I reference him a lot when I do the toy talks and whatnot.
So Big Al Presents says, Go Geezers. Is that like Go Gadget?
Geezers, go.
I thought that was like, it wasn't Inspector
Go
Gadget.
Power Rangers.
I thought, well, there's that. I kept thinking Go Gadget Go from Inspector Gadget, remember?
Go Gadget Legs.
Inspector Gadget was my introduction to
Bionics?
Well, to James Bond before I knew. I didn't realize that Claw and Dr. Claw, that was all based on James Bond stuff. When I was a kid, I didn't.
Yeah, that was kind of supposed to be like Blofeld with the cat. Yeah.
Yeah, so so it was an interesting. So we have Big Al Presents, Auditor Dread, Troy Pacelli. Hi, good to see you in the chat, Troy.
Yep.
Horizon Talker. Good to see you. Go Team Ghost Planet Go. Netters Network. Hi, Nanette.
Yep.
Rowan Lister. Welcome. Hey, guys. I'm watercoloring another picture I drew that I will post soon on Instagram. Cool.
Cool.
Drop the link if you'd like in the chat, as long as that's okay with YouTube. I don't mind if you drop the link.
Oh, yeah.
Agent Boomer, I say hi hours
I think
ago.
you just got to give him a wrench.
So Netter was first. Was Netter first?
She was. She may have. It might have been a while back, so it may have fallen off.
And Zootopia, hello. Like I said, as soon as I watch that next Bond movie, we'll have a discussion about it.
Yeah. If you want to, give Owen Lister a wrench, he can put his link in.
I'll
but
do that.
He won't be able to otherwise.
You're right. Let me give Owen a wrench. Okay. So you gonna see the new Bond movie when it becomes available?
just out of completeness, I've got it on my Netflix. Send it to me because I have all the different box sets, right? And it's
hold on, sorry about that. I clicked star. That's not wrench, is it? Hold on. Give me a break. Not that you don't deserve a star, Owen. Hold on. Let me get on. Let me mute myself. Ramble on for a minute.
He wants to give you a wrench, but what he gave you was a gold star because you're A-okay with us.
Plug your Friday stream while I'm doing this. I'll figure it out. Okay.
Yeah. So, let me finish answering the question you'd previously asked me. That should take up a little time too. So, because I'm a completist and I've been getting all the box sets, I figure, just to finish off this whole Daniel Craig, James Bond thing, I have Netflix sending me the disc, which, through the magic of the Heisenberg uncertainty principle and cloning of discs, I'll just make a copy of and add to my collection of physical media. But they're not getting any money from me for that abortion of James Bond lore, but out of completeness, I do have to add it to my collection. And then maybe what I should do is go back and watch the Daniel Craig films that I haven't seen, because really the only one that I saw, despite having all the discs in my collection, is Casino Royale, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I loved Casino Royale. In many thematic ways, I felt it harkened back to On Her Majesty's Secret Service. In many of the plot points and themes. So I was kind of pleased with that. And everything I heard from people after that was like, yeah, it's kind of gone downhill. And the last one, I guess, was the worst. And especially since apparently this Daniel Craig era stands completely separate from everything else James Bond. I mean, all the other ones kind of are in canon with each other, and Daniel Craig is, the modern reboot. Forget everything that went before. But what are you going to do about that?
Yeah, I will say this. They say you might be lost in the latest one if you hadn't watched the prior ones, because it kind of brings everything else to fruition.
I've heard that all it was just a bunch of callbacks and Easter eggs, and
possibly, yeah.
If you're a fan, you'll catch them, and if you don't, it has nothing to do with the current story.
Like I said, we will be doing a James Bond post-mortem, at some point. But I want to watch it first, but like Troy says, I don't want to give it money, so I'm waiting for it to come to DVD, and then I have my ways, called the public library. Anyway.
Oh, and Lister said that Casino Royale was the first Bond movie that he ever saw. So, I mean, I guess it was a jumping on point, right? But, dude, seriously, there is value to going back and watching the old James Bond movies. If nothing else, I mean, this is the thing that I think people kind of forget when we talk about pop culture. And that's that there are so many things that you have not seen, but you are aware of because of how they were parodied, okay? So for old folks like us, okay, we went through a long period of time where we had no idea who people like Peter Lorre and Bing Crosby were, but we knew their caricatures from Bugs Bunny. And then later on, when we'd see those movies, we'd go, oh, that's that guy that, was the, weirdo character from the Bugs Bunny cartoon. Okay, I know what that was, and so forth.
Yeah, well, you get hints of things. Like, I think was I saying that before the chat or in the beginning of the stream with Inspector Gadget, how that was my introduction to Bond. But.
Exactly. And so if you're a James Bond fan because of, the Daniel Craig, yeah, you're probably missing out on a lot of great stuff that went before that. And even before Daniel Craig, I mean, we had the Michael Myers, what was it?
Austin Powers?
Austin Powers, right. That kind of depends on you being at least somewhat aware of James Bond and all of that kind of thing.
Well, it was interesting you bring up Austin Powers because I had seen that movie. I had just gotten into the James Bond movies because I got the Nintendo 64 game GoldenEye based on the first Pierce Brosnan movie. So I started watching a lot of the older Connery movies too to get caught up to be with current Bond, because I figured it was all progression. And I went to see Austin Powers, and that movie is merciless to Connery era Bond. It tears it apart. It's funny. It's funny as all get out. Like there's the scene when he's in the club. And he punches Patricia Tallman. It was Patricia Tallman. I could tell that was her, okay? Can I get you a drink? And he says, Why on earth did you hit that woman? It's not a woman. It's a man. And they switched out the actor, right there. And it's some ugly henchman guy. And I remembered in Thunderball, the beginning of Thunderball, he's going after an agent of Spectre, and he sees apparently he died. This agent of Spectre died, and he's at the Spectre agent's funeral, and he sees his wife, leave and go into the car with the shawl on her head, and then he walks up to the widow and knocks her out, and it's not her. It's really the Spectre agent in disguise of his wife, and I'm thinking no. I clearly saw a woman in the prior scene.
Exactly.
So that's making fun of. But.
So Zootopia says that Eva Green was his favorite Bond girl. The scene where they meet on the train is terrific. I mean, you're not wrong. And let's face it, Eva Green is, very easy on the eyes. I would encourage you, if you haven't seen it, though, check out on Her Majesty's Secret Service. Diana Riggs was also very easy on the eyes. If you only know her from Game of Thrones or something like that, you'd be surprised.
My favorite Bond girl is the one from Russia with Love. Daniela Bianchi, if I'm saying her name right. Yeah, very lovely woman. That's my favorite. Okay.
I'm trying to remember.
From Russia with Love. That's the one where he goes to Russia.
Well, he actually he deals with Russia a lot. That was a that was a Connery film, right?
Yeah. And Lister says, I've seen most of the old Bond movies. I've seen most of the Sean Connery movies, most of the Moore movies, most of the Timothy Dalton movies, and GoldenEye. I would encourage. They get a bad rap, but watch the other Pierce Brosnan Bond movies. They're fun.
Yeah.
Don't get me started. Like I said, we'll be talking about Daniel Craig in due time. So
honestly, it's true. I am not really completely caught up on the Timothy Dalton and Pierce Brosnan era. I am getting those movies now, but I didn't watch them at the time, mostly because I didn't care much for Timothy Dalton as an actor, and I was really pissed that they kind of overstepped Pierce Brosnan. And then by the time they actually got around to Pierce Brosnan, I was on to other things. So I missed out.
Well, Pierce Brosnan brought it back. You get to see the last few movies with Q in him. Actually, he's Desmond Llewellyn. He's in, and they actually got John Cleese as his replacement in the Pierce Brosnan movies. He was going to be the replacement Q, and they have a scene with Desmond Llewellyn introducing him, and it's a good thing they did that because then he died right after that movie came out. And then John Cleese is the new Q, who I think was a good substitute.
Sure.
Yeah. And then they dropped all that when they started with Daniel Craig. But yeah, they're worth checking out. They're good enough. They're good, solid little Bond movies. But Moonraker was my least favorite of the Moore era. Spoken like a person who hasn't seen View to a Kill. But anyway, View to a Kill is worse. Moonraker is at least fun. It's cheesy, but it's fun. View to a Kill is just miserable. And you think that one would have worked because it had Christopher Walken as the villain, and as the henchwoman we had what's her name? When it was in Conan the Destroyer, Grace Jones.
Right.
She was the henchwoman in that. Jane Seymour from Live and Let Die. No.
Where are we on the outlier James Bond film, Never Say Never Again?
I don't recognize it. I know Siskel and Ebert liked it. I don't count it. It's a remake of Thunderball. Maybe I need to give it a chance now that the Broccolis, because I was very loyal to the family that was making the Bond movies. So this was this weird side project that happened because the rights to Thunderball were owned by another writer, so it was able to be remade, and they brought Connery back, which I thought was odd since he was already in Thunderball when he was a younger man. And
right. He's basically remaking the same movie again.
The same movie with himself. And I liked Max von Sydow as Blofeld. That would have been interesting.
Oh, yeah.
But did you like it? Never Say Never Again?
I saw it in the theater. I did enjoy it. I was, at the time, a huge Kim Basinger fan. So, yeah.
No, she's nice. Yeah.
I actually had seen it before I had seen the original Thunderball. So... I had to do some reevaluating, as I watched it retrospectively,
Britt Eklund was a good one.
Britt Eklund. Oh, let me tell you.
What was she in?
She's been in a lot of things.
Okay.
If nothing else, the original Wicker Man.
Oh,
definitely worth checking that movie out.
Was she in Man with the Golden Gun? Was she Holly Goodnight? Is that who I'm thinking of?
I don't remember.
I think she was married.
Sometimes,
if it's who I think it is, she was married to Peter Sellers.
Okay.
No, I don't. Peter Sellers was known as not being easy to get along with, but okay, yeah, The World Is Not Enough, GoldenEye. I like those movies. All right, but I guess we sort of did a good old days without planning for it.
I guess, yeah.
Bond, but We'll see if they can turn Bond around. I think that I've heard other people say you may be looking at the Daniel Craig years with fondness compared to what happens in the future, but we'll see.
Oh,
We'll
maybe.
see. By the way, we should probably we'll do it. Well, let's do it up front. We'll also do it at the end of the stream, though. Your stream Friday, though. You're having a special guest on, correct?
Yep. So on Friday, regular time for last call, 9 Central. My special guest will be, I mean, aside from my regular co-pilot here, will be Dino from the Late Late Horror Show. And I was excited when he said, he'd be willing to come on my channel. But I also thought, here we are in the Christmas season, and I was telling Aged Boomer this story back in the green room. Netter and I are out driving around listening to Christmas music, and we were listening to that classic Christmas song, Most Wonderful Time of the Year. And there's that line about scary ghost stories and tales of the glories of Christmases long, long ago. And she's like, I never really thought about that. Scary ghost stories for Christmas? And I'm like, yeah, it used to be a big tradition. That's partly why, we have, a Christmas Carol. By the way, Saturday's rewatch over on Big Al's channel. We'll be watching the musical with
Albert Finney.
Albert Finney, thank you very much. But yeah, so I've been wanting to do a video specifically about that tradition, and then when I got that opportunity with Dino, I was like, yeah, maybe we'll talk about that. So hopefully y'all tune in and make him feel welcome, and if you don't already follow him, you can follow him on Friday and tell him I sent you, and hit the likes and the thumbs and all the things, and listen to some of his nightly broadcasts that usually go from 10 at night to 10 in the morning. Obviously, you don't necessarily have to watch them all in one sitting. Go back and watch them later, but or listen to them, I should say. They're fun to sometimes listen to during the workday.
And I think he is available on Apple Podcasts too. So whatever streaming if you have a separate app on your mobile device, as they say, or your computer, you can probably find him on there. So the Late Night Horror Show, right? That's what it's called.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I was just distracted because Owen Lister's trying to find his link and he can't find it. So let me go to the Instagrams and I'll find him myself.
Instagram. Okay, well, while you're doing that, why don't I read the first article?
Go for it.
Ghostbusters Afterlife director has awesome idea for theme park ride. Now, I kind of cheated a little bit or clickbaited a little bit with the headline. I say Ghostbusters Afterlife ride. There actually is no Ghostbusters Afterlife ride. Now, in my defense, I was going to put a question mark next to it, but and I said, but the issue is that you only have so many characters in these headlines, and I tried to put 3. So, but there could be a Ghostbusters Afterlife ride, So, and the director of the movie has his own ideas for what the theme park ride should be like. So we have, let me read it to you. Ghostbusters Afterlife director Jason Reitman has shared what he would love to see in a potential Ghostbusters theme park ride. The original 1984 supernatural comedy film Ghostbusters became a cultural phenomenon, establishing a dedicated fan base and launching a multimedia franchise. The newest addition to the film series serves as a sequel to the first 2 Ghostbusters installments, both directed by Reitman's father, Ivan. Upon its November release, Ghostbusters Afterlife topped the box office, and though it received mixed to positive reviews from critics, the film has been praised by fans of the franchise. In a recent interview with Collider, Reitman discussed his film and talked about what he thinks a Ghostbusters ride at a theme park should look like. The director said that the ideal experience would be related to a chase scene, pointing out one from Ghostbusters Afterlife specifically. He talks about how making a scene like that in his film was a way of reliving fantasies of riding in the DeLorean or on his speeder bikes in Star Wars Return of the Jedi.
Sure.
He also mentioned the Harry Potter-based Hogwarts ride at Universal and wanting to do something like that, but with the Ecto-1. Read Reitman's quote regarding a potential theme park ride below. The chase sequence in Ghostbusters Afterlife, with Phoebe hanging out the side of Ecto-1, flying around corners, trying to catch Muncher. I mean, that is something I want to live. I want to know what it feels like to hang out the side of a car. course, I was kind of thinking you could probably do that whenever you want, but you might get yourself killed. Actually, though, I like the idea of them doing a Ghostbusters Afterlife ride. I think Universal Studios needs to snap to on that. They used to have a Ghostbusters. It was like like a mini show you would go see in their park, but they phased that out after a while. So, the kids don't know what Ghostbusters is anymore, right? So they phased that out. But now Ghostbusters is back, so you could do this ride at your park, and I think they really should do that ride. What do you think, Troy?
I think I'm having trouble finding Owen Lister's link. Dude, right. You're going to have to reach out to me. I will share it out, but I'm looking at MeWe. I'm seeing a lot of pictures that you've shared on MeWe, but none of them have links to your Instagram. So if I'm going to share your Instagram link, I need to be connected to you on Instagram. So help me out, man. There's a lot of Owen Listers on Instagram, and ain't none of them appearing to be.
But there's only one Troy Pacelli.
That's true. That's true. It's not a very common name. I mean, my grandfather used to say Pacellis are like horse shit. They're all over the place. Shows how old my grandfather was. But there aren't a whole lot of Troy Pacellis out there. So
there you go.
So you can probably find me fairly easily. I don't do the whole fake name things. But,
I do.
I know you do. You care what people think of you.
There are reasons.
I know. I understand that. You have to protect yourself from the SJW Otzi out there.
It's weird. It's like even when going on Midnight's Edge, you have the people that are full out, and then the people that still hide behind monikers. And
yep.
There's a reason why. There's a good reasons, I guess, to do both. I think it probably is better when you can show your face. Though.
I mean, just look at Script Doctor. I totally understand why nobody knows who he really is. He would not be able to get work if people knew what his identity was.
Yeah, they will blacklist you. I can say this as someone coming from certain fields.
Absolutely true.
Okay, but
I do think that a good ride would be advisable. I think that capitalizing on the multimedia concept for these franchises would be brilliant. Too bad Disney isn't in that market anymore and can't do that with things like Star Wars and Marvel. But
they have.
We'll get to that.
We're gonna get there. Okay, yeah. But now we have Hasbro Ghostbusters Proton Pack has just surpassed 15,000 backers.
As of the time that we put the notes together, they've actually passed 18,000. They are well past the last stretch goal for the Haslab.
Do you think that part of this has to do with the success of Ghostbusters Afterlife?
A huge part of it. Okay. There's a and I did want to talk about exactly what this is. There's been a whole I don't know what the word is. It's a perfect storm of events, right? It's the fans have been brewing for over 30 years, putting together their kits and making their own prop replicas and stuff. And from what I hear in the community, a prop replica of this quality would cost about, on average, $1,200, and people have been spending that much. So when the Neutrona wands came out, they sold out. They brought more in. They sold out again. And then when the Haslab went up for the Ghostbusters pack, and the first stretch goal was an electronic tube that connects the two, so that you have a power pack connection between the two, they started putting out more in limited quantities. Those sold out, and they said, okay, we'll make more, and they'll become available in February. So the Neutrona ones just keep selling out because people are buying the packs as well. So that's just a fan desire. But yeah, you couple that with the success of Ghostbusters Afterlife, the literal, I don't know what you want to call it, the slingshot effect of everyone being so pissed about 2016 and then being so thankful for the pendulum swing that is Afterlife.
Yeah.
That people are going, yep, let me get in on that pack. So for me, looking at that, going, how can I justify $1,200 for a pack, just one pack, let alone for one for me and one for Netter? Oh, wait a minute, for $400 each. So for less than the cost of what I would put into one, I can get 2 packs. Yeah, let me get in on that. So
this sounds really neat.
Yeah, we backed the pack for 2. Yeah, it is really incredible. Over on Adam Savage's YouTube channel, he did a review of the prototype, and it's incredible. The detail. They talk through the details and how they did these 3D scans of the original prop, and they were doing this. And this is partly because they were also doing this because they had to reproduce the packs specifically for the film, right?
Yeah.
But as long as they were doing that, they were like, well, we'll work with Hasbro and whatnot. And Hasbro had already done a lot of tooling and stuff with the Neutrona wands, metal pieces, and so forth. And they really got the right engineers on this because they were saying, look, we know what the fans want, and one of the things the fans want is customizability. So you're going to get all this detail, but you can take things off to make it more authentic. You can clean it up. One of the stretch goals was, all of the labels, the warning labels and the caution and danger and stuff like that, all that stuff that comes on it is very weathered, because these are supposed to be the packs from the current movie. But one of the stretch goals is a set of decals that you can use to replace them that make it look brand new, like back in the 80s.
So if you want it to be like you're one of the Ghostbusters from the 80s.
Exactly right, exactly. But what's also interesting is, there's 2 details that are very interesting for Ghostbusters fans. One, that circular piece at the bottom. In the movie, in Afterlife, that piece is opened up and you can see the cyclotron on the inside. And there's a couple pieces missing that Phoebe has to replace with the help of her grandfather, pointing out where the pieces are. It's really sweet. That piece actually opens up on the replica, and you can see the cyclotron inside and everything. Cool. You can kind of reenact that scene. The other thing is, throughout all of the canon films, you never see exactly where the on switch is. You see them turn it on in that funny elevator scene where he flips it on and steps away. Right. But the pack is on Venkman's back away from you, so you don't see exactly where he's hitting. And the Ghostbusters Afterlife made it a point that when they replicated that scene with Phoebe and Podcast, they turn the camera so you see exactly where his finger goes and you see the button that he hits. So instead of seeing it straight on, Phoebe's face, you're seeing it sideways on her. And you can call it fan service if you want, but they didn't frame it to be, it just happens to be facing that way. They framed it so the camera moves around to show it to you. Like, we know you want to see this, we're showing it to you. And sure enough, that's exactly where it is on the current Hasbro pack, because detail. So yeah,
this whole thing sounds super cool.
Very exciting. They hit all the stretch goals. The first one was, the authentic hose that allows you to share the power coupling between the power source on the backpack and the Neutrona one. Yeah. You get these plastic appliques that make it look like the goo from Marshmallow.
White marshmallow goo.
Exactly. Yeah. And you can pick up in stores 3 packs of the mini puffs. Well, those same 3 mini puffs are available in an exclusive version with the proton pack, as if they're like burned and charred.
Yeah,
and
they look
have
different than the ones you get in stores.
They're different because of basically a paint job, but still, it's a custom thing, and it makes sense when you couple them with the pack. They have grippy hands, so you could actually pose them like hanging off of your proton pack and whatnot. the next stretch goal was the one I was really looking forward to. There's some stickers and decals and stuff, which is nice. But the big thing is the book. It is Egon Spengler's notebook with sketches and anecdotes and, his personal. I mean, that's some great immersive type stuff. And then the last stretch goal was this really cool looking display stand. In case you're not using it as a costume piece and you're not playing with it, you can just
put
display
it in your house, and that way you have someplace to stick it.
Absolutely.
Like
And then after the last stretch goal funded, I'm sure they were planning this anyway. They showed what the box was going to look like, and it looks like it's cardboard. Obviously, it's a cardboard box, but it's printed to look like this steamer trunk that would be the kind of thing you would store a proton pack in. Really, really cool kind of thing. So yeah, they're more than 3,000 over the last stretch goal. Compare this to the Star Wars one that we were talking about last week that didn't even make its minimum.
Yeah. You want to talk a little bit about that? What happened with the Rancor?
Yeah, so the Rancor got down to... I actually got a video out on my channel if you guys want to see it.
You had talked about it on there, so yeah, check out his channel.
Yeah, I literally showed... Right? I started doing screen captures as we were getting closer to the end time, and it still had like 1,500 to go, and it literally went up almost 1,000 in less than an hour. And I was like... I can't believe this. This doesn't make a lot of sense. And Netter specifically said, she said, do you think maybe it's like people there at Hasbro trying to gin up the numbers? I'm like, yeah, it could be. But I'm like, it has so far to go. Would that even be cost effective? Is there any reason for them to, buy up 1,000 extra units in the hopes of selling them somewhere else down the line? I don't know. Then it hit the deadline. The button to order it went away. I couldn't order one if I wanted to at that point. And the numbers kept going up. And I'm like, the hell is this? I said, is this like the 2020 election? They're fortifying the promotion they went to get it over. But eventually it stopped. And I was like, okay, maybe these were orders. People already had it in their cart and they just hadn't, the system hadn't updated or whatever. And sure enough, it stopped for a little bit and then the numbers started coming down. Because the thing came up that said this project was not funded, and people were like, well, screw it. And they started, taking their money back, and it literally, like, for as fast as it went up in the last hour, it plummeted. Within an hour, it went from, I think it was like 7,000 or something like that to 800.
Wow.
And then the project was completely gone from the site the next morning. It was, we talked about that last week, how tone deaf they were in their stretch goals, in how much it cost and everything.
They thought that they just slapped the word Star Wars on something and it's going to sell. That's what they
and unfortunately, Star Wars doesn't have that kind of appeal anymore. And, a name only goes so far. It's got to have other things backing it up. And the fans have to feel like, you care. And when the fans look at this backpack and they're like, yeah, there's some things that I'd still like it to be and to have and everything, but for the price, I'm good with it. Most fans agree that the $400 price tag on the Proton pack, compared to, like I said, $1,000 replica.
Yeah, it sounds very reasonable. That seems reasonable.
It's like that alone tells me I can get two of these for less than what it would cost to get one custom made, right? So I'm in regardless of the stretch goals. The stretch goals are just bennies to me. But then when I see what the stretch goals are, and I'm like, oh man, I would love to get Egon's notebook. And then it gets the next one and gets the next one. And I'm like, well, I didn't really care about the mini puffs, but that's actually kind of cool. In fact, now I want to go and get the regular ones. So I went ahead and ordered, the plain ones. So I have those too. So they got an extra sale out of me because this is good marketing. If you get me to spend money, You did your job, marketing department,
Okay.
right?
I want to give a little gift to Jason Reitman right now. I'm thinking about these mini puffs. I'm thinking these could be the new Smurfs or California raisins. You could make all kinds of mini puffs to sell, having them do. Maybe they've already thought this through.
I think they
Okay.
kind of already have. So these mini puffs, there's 3 of them, but they come with 3 additional heads that have like different expressions, and this is exactly the same in the commercially available ones. So you really have to buy 2 sets if you want to display all 6 heads at once, right?
Yeah.
So that means I had to get 3 sets, so I have extra bodies for the extra heads that I'm going to get with the proton pack. See,
Now,
so they got my money. They did,
know,
and I'm happy about it.
They know how to sell.
Yep.
They're giving you what you want. So that's
They get exactly right. I mean, Netta looked at me sideways when I told her how much I spent on the mini puffs, but she knows this makes me happy, and I was happy with the amount of money we were spending on it. And it's like, well, okay, I don't feel like I've been ripped off or anything,
Right. Auto address says Haslab is in deep poodoo. Well, Haslab, they did this thing, right? The proton pack, correct?
Yeah, we're talking about both sides of the spectrum here.
Yeah,
so Haslab did the Rancor, and Haslab did the proton pack. There are
What was more successful? Obviously,
yeah. On the plus side was the proton pack. On the downside, the failure was the Rancor. And look, I don't care if it's the Haslab or an exclusive from Hasbro Pulse or a generally available, commercial item. Marketing matters, and marketing means getting a product the customer wants to the customer and making the customer feel great about the money they're spending for it. That's really what it comes down to. And I feel that Hasbro did a great job with the pack. They did a crap job on the Rancor. I don't care for the Haslab model overall. If you want more on that, go check out Michael French on Retro Blasting. He talks about it a lot. He really hates the Haslab thing. He would not get anything through Haslab, even if it was, the elixir of life and it really worked, but that's just him. And that's fine. He's got his principles, and I super appreciate that. But the biggest problem with Haslab is these are high-end, expensive items. Most people don't have, for us, for the 2 packs, that's $800. We don't have most people don't have $800 just like that. We were able to do that in a 1-month span of time. Not everyone can. So you get to the end of the 40 days or whatever it is that the project is going on, and you haven't been able to get together your $400 or however many dollars, you're going to miss out. And they go, well, maybe they'll, re-release it, or maybe they'll... No, that's not what Haslab is. They never re-release it. The only option is to wait a year. When everyone starts getting their backpacks, you're going to have someone who got extras just to turn around and scalp them. And now you can spend $1,600 on it because you didn't have the $400 up front. Look, that's the poor tax that people talk about. You don't have the money. You don't have, the spending money when you want it, so you end up paying more later. That's always true. That's just economics.
Yeah, there's a game company out there that does that they do that with video games sometimes. They'll republish an old, like, Super Nintendo cartridge.
Yeah.
But if you don't get in on the pre-order, you don't get it. Or maybe they'll make a physical edition of a modern game that's only getting a digital distribution, but you can actually buy a physical version from this company.
They talk to the people, the big fans, the big, YouTube channels and whatnot that get the interviews and stuff with the people from Hasbro that come on and answer questions and stuff like that. They've got their ear, and they say to them, why do you keep doing this model when all you're really doing is giving money to the scalpers? You're leaving money on the table. By making it this way, you get a very small percentage of what you're trying to get when you could get so much more if this was, just make it a Hasbro Pulse exclusive and give people a year to put $400 together and get the pack. You'll sell more packs that way. Somebody in marketing has decided this is the way to go. Don't know why, but this is going to continue to antagonize fans that have less spending money than others. But, unfortunately, these companies are going to start learning these lessons by continuing to put out premium products for a small elite group and piss off most of the rest of the fans. We'll get to that when we start talking about Disney again.
I did want to bring up something Auditor Dread mentioned. Maybe they can do a Ghostbusters laser gun experience, have the laser guns simulate proton packs, have ghost holograms as things to run.
I heard that they actually had some sort of an augmented reality thing going on the phones. I haven't checked it out yet, but that sounds like fun too.
I was thinking, a while back we were talking about a Sony theme park and how there were some of these rides were already around in other parts of the world. And there was a Ghostbusters ride. I believe it was in Dubai, but I could be wrong. And it's like I think you actually would shoot at ghosts on the ride, like shoot at Gozer and other things in the ride. And they were like computer animated versions of the ghosts.
That'd be cool.
It looked interesting, the ride. Yeah.
Okay, I'll throw out an idea. This is a free one to the Ghost Corps. Okay, that's the company behind the Ghostbusters franchise, Ghost Corps.
Yeah.
My suggestion is get Hasbro to do they've already done the Neutrona one. Now they've done the backpack. Now do the goggles. Okay, but with the goggles that we see in Afterlife, there's this little feature that's got a Polaroid camera in it. Podcast takes a picture, pulls out the picture, and hands it to Phoebe. Instead of a Polaroid camera, make it a place where you could put a cell phone, a slimline, like Android or what is your Apple phone called? iPhone.
iPhone, yes.
Yeah, that you can just slip in there, and it's got the game in it. You can hook it up to your, it can somehow take pulses or something from your backpack or from the Neutrona one, but you see everything through the goggles, an augmented reality game, Well,
that'd be neat.
That would be very, very clever.
Even if they couldn't do that, they could do it as a theme park where you put the augmented, because didn't Phoebe have goggles on during the movie? So that would be,
It was mostly podcast, and I know a lot of the extraneous, from cartoons and books and comics and stuff. So I know a lot about what they say these items do. But just from the movies alone, we don't know a lot about what those goggles are supposed to do. But it did seem to be implied in Ghostbusters Afterlife that Podcast wearing those glasses, since he was always the one doing the remote control trap, that somehow putting on these glasses helped him see something or zoom in and distances, and I don't know, but maybe they'll work that out if they ever get around to doing goggles. They really should. But cool. Yeah. So I'm pretty excited. This is where the money is too. They're making great money, from the box office on this movie. But I've been saying all along, even before the movie was released, over the past year, they've been making money hand over fist from the marketing. I honestly think they went into this movie breaking even just from marketing dollars alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm very. So they broke even from the marketing, so it wasn't as much marketing.
I'm speculating. I don't know this. And just in the time that we've been talking about this, they've gone from 18,000 something backers to 19,848 backers. And they have 2 hours, 17 minutes left. That is more than twice what they needed to back the pack. Yep, that's more than 4,000 over the last stretch goal.
Now, granted, these are two different franchises, and of course, these are two different items being sold. But isn't it interesting how Ghostbusters is the hot thing right now? Maybe Star Wars not as much.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, granted,
look. I'm getting ready to do my my Ghostbusters reaction, but one of the things I'm comparing is, look, they know they fucked up with 2016. There is no doubt about it. And this was the response, and this was the right way to do it. This is a good sequel. And in doing this sequel, it honors the legacy of what went before. And there's a lot of know-nothings out there calling that fan service. It's not fan service if you're doing a sequel and you are referencing what you are making a sequel of. That's just good story craft. Okay. Yeah. We saw movies about characters. Those characters have, continued into the future, and referencing that history is not fan service. That's telling a story the way a story is meant to be told.
I also think these reporters that kept using these words fan service in regards to Ghostbusters Afterlife, that expression was used as a troll, because up until recently I'd never heard fan service used. That's a term that comes from anime. Yeah. From Japanese animation, when maybe you get to see a little bit more of your favorite female character on the show. Maybe you see up her skirt, maybe you see something pop out of her blouse or something like that. You understand?
Well, and one of the things
back in the day, and maybe they're trying to say, oh, they're giving you the proton packs and the book stacked and stuff, and you're getting, and it's gratifying to you, like, in that way. Like, I think that in some ways they're trolling us by calling it fan service. I think that's what that is. Yeah.
Look, what I'm basically saying is, and I'm going to bring this up in the video I'm working on. When they say fan service and when we say fan service, it doesn't mean the same thing.
Right.
To them, anything. Remember, the legacy media, the shills, the Twitterazzi's, the ones calling us istaphobes. To them, they hate the fans. So anything we're gonna like, they're gonna hate. Okay. So if it doesn't completely destroy and undermine and deconstruct what went before, they don't like that. Anything good to them is fan service. The difference is when we say fan service, depending on the context, we mean one of two things. One is literal and one is ironic. So good fan service is basically the opposite of what they do, okay? Yeah. It's honoring the franchise, the legacy, building on the established story and lore. It's really that simple. It's, basically telling a good story. That's fan service. That's the first one. But the other one, bad fan service, when we use that term, for example, is pointless, stupid Easter eggs that are just thrown in for no reason to send the message, hey, see? We know the lore. We know what you like, right? See, this is
we're gonna have Spock scream "Caw!"
Exactly. That's stupid. When everything else sucks and we've completely deconstructed what you love, but we throw in a little nod to say, "See, we know what we're undermining." See, we threw in that crystal skull from the Solo book, so that means we know. Even though the whole Solo a Star Wars mockery was a piece of shit, and lost money. That's bad fan service.
Oh, I like Horizon Talker saying the core of the fan service concept is that it's gratuitous. Continuity is not gratuitous. Yes.
Exactly right. Yes. Exactly. I did not see anything that was in Ghostbusters Afterlife that I would say was gratuitous. Every single bit of it, if it didn't make absolutely perfect sense why it was there, I mean, it did. It had to be there.
It's a sequel. It takes place in the same universe. There have to be references to what came before. That's not member berries or anything.
And I loved, and they even did the whole explanation of, well, how have people forgotten that this big event happened in the 80s? And because Mr. Gruberson specifically, he says it directly too. How do you not know about this? It happened 20 years before we were born.
Yes.
And you're like, oh yeah, I guess it was. That would explain why you didn't know about this, And so what does she do? She goes and she looks up YouTube videos of these events, and she's like, oh yeah, And I mean, anybody who just looks at the current media would know something like this happens, you're going to have some people saying this absolutely happened. You're going to have the conspiracy theorists say it was all, a laser light show and a bunch of, terrorists doing bullshit, and, nobody knows, and they just go on about their lives, I mean, hell, look at what happened after 9/11, We had a dust up for a year, and then they cleaned up the site, and everyone started going on about their business, and people seem to have completely forgotten about it.
Yeah, well, if you remember, too, in Ghostbusters 2, that was they said, they didn't, the media or whatever, nobody accepted the fact that what happened, remember?
Right.
They were doing, hold on, Auto Dread has a question for me, I'll answer it real quick. What is the best use of fan service and the worst use of fan service in film? Well, I would say worst version is Star Trek Into Darkness, with several things in that movie, such as the Dr. McCoy experimenting on a Tribble. Remember Tribbles?
Yeah, exactly.
And the best use of it was seeing Carol Marcus in like a bikini in that movie. I'm sorry.
I mean,
who's the
I could totally understand why,
why Kirk.
Yeah.
They made a point about Dr. Carl Marcus. I don't want to get off on Star Trek right now, but I wanted to make a point that they made a point that Dr. Carl Marcus had to be a very smart, independent movie in her own right, but she also had to be the kind of woman that Kirk would have gone for. That was her design.
Exactly.
But,
and for all the
Alice Eve,
for all the dumbasses out there that continue the whole, Kirk's a slut and he sleeps with all the alien women, you're not really paying attention to the history. He did the schmoozy type of thing, but he did not really romance a lot of people at all.
No.
He never did. And the only one that we know of for sure that he did was Carol Marcus. And it's very clear that it seems like she was the one that got away, in his opinion.
Yeah, and I actually would have liked the idea when they were doing
in the span of the original series, there was 2 women he fell in love with, and they both died. Yep. So, don't have a real love relationship with Kirk. You're gonna end up dead. Just so that I'm not being ambiguous, it was what was Joan Collins' character? Edith Keeler and Miramani.
Oh, Joan.
Who technically he actually married.
Interesting.
Yeah, that wasn't just being slutty. He was actually married to her.
I forgot that Joan Collins. I didn't realize she was on the original Star Trek. It's funny. I was watching Space 1999, and I see both Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee show up in episodes, and I'm saying, okay, who's next? It's going to be Joan Collins. So sure enough, Joan Collins shows up on that show as an episode. Anyway, but speaking of things, we have to move on, right? We have to move on to Cowboy Bebop not giving the fans or anyone else what they want, similar to the Ghostbusters 2016. Speaking of which...
Yep.
Are you all set? Okay.
Brrr.
Cowboy Bebop canceled by Netflix after 1 season. What?
Shocker.
This came out of the blue. I don't think Netflix typically does this. 3 weeks out of the gate, it's done.
Yep.
That was fast. Netflix. Okay, let me read this article from Hollywood Reporter. That was fast. Netflix has canceled its ambitious, widely hyped, and ultimately widely disappointing anime adaptation, Cowboy Bebop. A Hollywood Reporter has learned. The move comes less than 3 weeks after the show's November 19th debut on the streaming service. The space western had a rough reception. The 10-episode series garnered only a 46% positive critics rating on review aggregator Rotten Tomatoes. Fans seem to agree, given that the show a 56% positive audience score on the site. According to Netflix top 10 site, the series has racked up almost 74 million viewing hours worldwide since its debut. So it got plenty of sampling out of the gate, but it plummeted to 59% for the week of November 29th to December 5th. That's very interesting. Insiders point out that Netflix's renewal rate for scripted series that have 2 or more seasons stand at 60%, in line with industry averages. And like all Netflix renewal verdicts, the decision was made by balancing the show's viewership and costs. The streamer also prides itself on taking big swings on projects like Cowboy Bebop and has many other genre shows on the air and in the works. Project is the latest attempt to reinvent Japanese anime as live action that failed to draw viewers following titles such as 2009's Dragon Ball Evolution. I forgot that came out. That was that Chow Yun Fat in it. 2017's Ghost in the Shell. And Death Note, the biggest success in the space so far was arguably 2019's Alita Battle Angel, which pulled sizable foreign grosses, 319 million, if not domestic, 85 million. Who knows if and when we're going to be getting a sequel to Alita Battle Angel, despite the press's efforts to derail that movie. 2017's Ghost in the Shell, didn't care for it. We talked about that bit on Mr. Matchstick stream. He did a Ghost in the Shell segment. But I want to make a big difference between how Ghost in the Shell, the movie, was promoted versus how the Cowboy Bebop series was promoted.
Yep.
Scarlett Johansson and the director went to Japan. They talked to the press. They said, we're trying to be very respectful to the source material. It at least seemed like they were trying. I mean, I had my own issues with that movie, but it wasn't from the marketing or even how they were promoting it. We covered a few weeks ago, there was the entire Daniela Pinetta situation, right?
Yeah.
When she basically opened up a
gaping maw, her mouth.
Her mouth on the fans. And I did follow up a week later with John Cho, who was actually more respectful. He was trying to at least sell the series and explaining, I know I'm old, but this is why I'm doing it. And he liked the original series, so he was at least, in my opinion, doing a better job.
I feel like you don't have to justify why you take an acting role. Fuck it. I mean, it's not your fault if they miscast it. You got to put bread on the table.
I thought he was doing a better job of trying to sell.
Yeah.
This,
I dig it.
I think it was too little, too late.
Oh yeah.
And
there was no walking it back after the fans were insulted that way. They were done.
I wonder if she's the one who sunk this series. I don't know.
She was a big part of it, absolutely.
Because out of the gate, you just start.
That told fans everything they needed to know, and they were done. There's no getting them back after that.
I believe one of the Bebop writers is crying about losing their job and asking for sympathy. Meanwhile, they deliberately injected woke points in the show. I'm going to read a little bit from this Bounding in the Comics article. I do not believe this person is a writer on the show. I think the title was script coordinator, which I think could be some variant of script supervisor. Do you know what a script supervisor is?
Not specifically, no.
I believe it's someone on set that makes sure that scenes make sense. It's an important job. I'm not trying to knock it. I don't call it a creative job, but you're on the set. You might take, in the old days, you would take little Polaroid pictures. Now you can just use your phone, but you would take pictures, like making sure everything on the table is in the right spot, scene from scene, making sure, like, if a actor is wearing a scarf, that scarf is still on them in the next scene. Do you understand? So
right. That is very important, because people like Nanette will notice that. Yeah.
And, you know, they do their best. Sometimes things slip up, though. It's a very intricate job, so I'm not going to knock if they make a mistake here and there.
Yeah.
But let's see. Netflix Cowboy Bebop script coordinator claims audiences are missing out on canceled season 2. Previously revealed show was inspired by a radical left-wing YouTuber. I'm going to read a little bit from just the beginning part of this article. Okay, hot on the heels of its cancellation, Naomi Markman, the script coordinator for Netflix's Cowboy Bebop, recently took to Twitter to tease that the audiences were missing out on a second season of the series, only to cry victim met with criticism from fans who, having seen the results of the unsurprisingly awful first season, expressed extreme doubt in her claim. Markman's turnabout came as part of the series of tweets made in lamentation of the abysmal live-action adaptation's cancellation. Now, to be fair, this is all coming from Bounding in the Comics, so they have their own bias. But her declaration was this: not to rub it in your faces, but as the individual who has read the Cowboy Bebop Season 2 scripts more than anyone else in this world, fuck, you're missing out. That's what she said. After facing a deluge of pushback from audiences, many of whom asked if Season 2 was to be so great, where was that supposed talent in
exactly
Season 1? Ouch. Markman asked the very same people that she previously antagonized, "My dear troll friends, do you realize that literally hundreds of people lost their jobs today, right? Jobs we loved and care about." I'm sorry that
I'm sorry. I just don't care. You took a job doing something that your company, your bosses, your whatever literally undermined. You literally pissed off the people that were holding the money. You know, your bosses are not the people you sign a contract with and sign your checks. It's the people they get the money from, and that's us. Just, you people need to remember that.
As a script coordinator is who I meant. Yeah, you're talking about the same person I am. I thought that I thought too this was someone writing for the show, but she kept writing on her thing, aspiring screenwriter, aspiring writer, and the first thing that popped in my head: you're working on a series, writing on the series. You better not be aspiring anymore. You need to be a professional. But to be fair, I don't think she is an actual writer on this. I think she's familiar with the script, but she didn't do any actual writing. She goes on. She
isn't anymore. That's for sure.
She further attempted to deflect. Just because you don't like the food at a restaurant doesn't mean you would celebrate when it closes down. If you would mock the waiters or chefs, I beg of you to touch some grass and give someone you love a hug. Now, I have to bring something up. You ever watch Gordon Ramsay on TV? Kitchen Nightmares?
Sure.
And he goes into these abysmal restaurants, and he is there for the staff to actually keep the place from closing down.
Right.
That's why he's there. Customers aren't liking the food. They got a bad meal. I'm sorry, that's on the chef. And maybe it's on management for not providing the chef with the resources they needed, like proper produce and other things that they need to make good food for the restaurant. Wait staff, that's rude. If your waiter is rude to you and you're also getting a bad meal, you're not. I mean, you some people are going to ridicule the place closing down. They're not going to shed a tear. I can tell you that much right up front.
Right.
By the way, do you want to know what her Twitter? What is it? Her Twitter? What do you call it? A hashtag or a profile? What her name is on Twitter?
What is it?
Naomi Markman stands with Black Lives Matter.
Yep.
Okay.
There you go. Okay. That tells you all you need to know about her. In other words, I'm not here to write stories. I'm not here to, make good art. I'm not here for any other reason than to, bring about socialism and destroy the patriarchy and push my political agendas.
Let me read this to you. Okay. These are her words describing herself: revolutionary leftism, restorative justice, eco-anarchism, raging lesbian, and she, her as her preferred pronouns.
Yeah.
Okay. She is right out of the textbook, SJW textbook right here. So, why do we think Cowboy Bebop got canceled? Is this an instance of get woke, go broke?
It absolutely is. It absolutely is. I mean, this is nothing that I haven't talked about many, many times before. It's this whole idea that you got to understand that people will not pay for something they don't like. And it will eventually fail. Unless you're being, we can talk about on another time, another topic, but unless you're like Star Trek that's being propped up by special interests with deep pockets that aren't looking to make their money back, that are literally spending their money to push an agenda, then your thing will go away and die without an infusion of cash.
Listen, I know that people lost their jobs. They didn't do them well enough. That's tough news, but they need to hear it. Yeah. This is what happens when you do a bad job making a product. It doesn't sell, and you lose your job. That's how real life works.
No. You're absolutely right.
You will fail in life. I've failed in life too in certain aspects.
Absolutely. There was a meme that I saw the other day, and you've probably seen this meme. It's the one that it's Anakin and Padme talking. And it always follows the same rhythm. He says something and she says, "But you mean this, right?" And he just smiles at her, "But you mean this, right?" And then, it's clearly not what he was meaning. And he says something about, "Rejoice, comrade, the socialist revolution is complete. Our job is done." She goes, "Great. That means I can quit I can quit waiting tables and work on my art." And he just looks at her and smiles. we still need art, right? He looks at her and smiles. The next scene you see, she's working on a rice paddy.
Oh.
Because that's the way socialism is. These people think, well, I can, destroy, all the conventions and then I can make whatever art I want. No, that's not what socialism is. You keep using that word, but it doesn't mean what you think it means.
No.
Actual socialism is a bunch of rich elites take over your country and everybody is reduced to slavery and working in the fields to put food on the table for the elites. Maybe not even for yourself.
Did you read Animal Farm?
Of course.
The plot of Agent Troy Pacelli. Netflix's Bebop cancellation is the best Christmas present we got this year. I would still say it's probably Ghostbusters Afterlife.
But here was
canceled is good news.
Despite what this brain dead piece of shit is saying, I really do believe though that this was a project intended to scuttle the whole idea of anime. They're like, look, we did this, you didn't like it, anime sucks. Which the fans of anime are going, no, your shit interpretation of it sucks. Stay away from it, don't touch it, we'll just continue enjoying this thing that you don't make money on.
Well, Robert Rodriguez can touch it because he knows what he's doing. But
yeah, I agree with you 100%.
I want to say, you can't get rid of Japanese animation and manga. These things are popular. They've been popular for a while, and as more American-made entertainment shows go, come out and they're disasters, people are going to look for alternatives. By the way, you know what show Netflix renewed? It was Squid Game, which was that South Korean drama that was on their network. They renewed that. That did very good ratings. If we don't fix this mess and if we don't start making better stuff, there is competition from other parts of the world. It will happen. Okay. At any rate, speaking of Cowboy Bebop writers, actual Cowboy Bebop writers, this is what I don't understand. They're saying, you should have seen what you had planned for Season 2. I should know what you have planned for Season 2 because I've seen the original anime.
Yeah, that's the other thing. We all know the story. You clearly don't. You clearly didn't from the first season, and we didn't want more of that in the second season. We'll just go back and reread the books. We know these characters. We know the story. We don't need to see them interpreted by people that don't represent the characters and have nothing but contempt for us.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on to actual Cowboy Bebop writers from the original series. Have some sad news this week. A lot of deaths this week. I noticed. In fact, we didn't even mention the Monkeys actor that
Michael Nesmith.
Nesmith, yeah. It's funny. They did a made-for-TV movie about the origins of the Monkeys and about how
the Prefab Four.
Yeah, and they were all upset. They want to be taken seriously like the Beatles, and I think one of them was talking to Ringo Starr in a club, and he's saying, "What? Oh, I wish we could be more like you." And he says, "What are you talking about? You guys are the funniest thing since the Marx Brothers."
Yeah.
He was basically making a point that, you're doing great work too.
You're doing your own thing. There's nothing wrong with that.
We respect a lot. Okay?
And the fact is, their music is still very well regarded.
Yeah, I'm a believer, still sung to this day.
Absolutely, and it's being covered and all that kind of stuff. And even some of those songs, like Michael Nesmith actually has writing credits on some of those.
Yeah, I mean, give yourself some credit, okay?
You could also tell that they all had different musical stylings, right? Michael Nesmith definitely wanted to be more of a folk/country singer.
Gotcha.
And when he headlined a song, you could hear that twang in there, right? It was very clearly, when he, what was it? You Just May Be the One. You definitely can hear that country kind of thing to it, right? Davy Jones was very much more the crooner type of pop singer,
right.
And Peter Tork, I think, was the one who most wanted to be like the Beatles. He wanted to do weird shit, so when you get Auntie Griselda, that's Peter Tork headlining that one.
There you go. But yeah, sad to see him go. But
Yeah.
your music will be remembered. Also, they should do a remaster of the Monkees, put it on Blu-ray or something. They should do that.
Right.
It was a fun
Absolutely.
little show. There was an episode I remember where they were in Dracula's castle and they're getting served something. What is this? Tomato juice?
Yeah, yeah,
Of
exactly.
course. But and other Destiny notes back to Cowboy Bebop. Cowboy Bebop Macross writer Keiko Nobumato passes away.
Yeah.
Sad news, but wow, to think that a woman was such a prolific writer in all these anime
And she had a
series.
long career
Yes,
too. I mean,
she did. Yes. My point is that we had the other side screams that we never had equality until now, or we're still working for it. But no, people have been working in these industries for ages,
yeah, you're
and
you're
she
either
was important.
ignorant or
Yeah.
you're just not stepping up yourself. Because
Uh,
you act like the opportunity isn't there, but the fact is it absolutely is. Just because you're not doing shit doesn't mean
if
that,
you're talented, you'll
you
break
know.
through.
Exactly.
Uh, well, as long as that's what people are judging you
Yeah.
on. Keiko Nobumato, the writer of such anime as Macross Plus, Cowboy Bebop, Wolf's Rain, and Tokyo Godfathers, passed away on December 1st, allegedly due to esophageal cancer. I notice a lot of my favorite creatives in Japan, they always die of some kind of cancer. I, I hope that's not from residuals from that disaster they had a few years ago. The news of her death was made public via a Facebook post from writer Desaito, who worked alongside Nobumoto on Wolf's Rain and the Shinichiro Watanabe directed productions of Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo, and Space Dandy. Sato received the news from Watanabe, who was contacted by Nobumoto's family following a memorial service on December 4th. In a memorial post, Sato calls Nobumoto the person who guided me like a master. See?
Yeah.
He was a mentor. The 1994 Macross Plus OVA series set in the universe of Super Dimension Fortress Macross. You might know that, better know that over here is Robotech.
Right, right,
Began her
right.
working relationship with director Shinichiro Watanabe, with whom she'd repeatedly collaborated throughout her life. The four-episode OVA series was adapted by Nobumoto in a condensed feature film, Macross Plus Movie Edition in 1995. I used to have that on VHS. Nobumoto was in charge of series composition on Watanabe's 1998 genre-blending classic Cowboy Bebop. She wrote 9 of the show's 26 episodes, including Jupiter Jazz and the Real Folk Blues two-parters, as well as Cowboy Bebop the movie. So she
Wow.
wrote a lot of the.
Yes, she
I
did.
mean, they were all good episodes, but she wrote a lot of the
The
very
big ones.
the plot
Yeah.
driven, the big ones. She was behind those. Wolf's Rain, a 2003 anime series about 4 wolves searching for paradise at the end of the world, was Nobumoto's own creation. She wrote 9 of the 26 TV episodes and all 4 of the concluding OVA episodes. Also in 2003, Nobumoto once again collaborated with Satoshi Kon for the holiday drama Tokyo Godfathers. Nobumoto is credited as a scenario supervisor for the original 2002 Kingdom Hearts game and received a special thanks for 2005's Kingdom Hearts 2. A very gifted woman. She had a long career. She will be missed.
Yep.
Um, I'm familiar with all of this stuff, actually.
Netter
Worked on.
points out that there was another celebrity death in Anne Rice, 80 years old,
When did that happen?
just today.
Oh, my goodness.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. Interview with the Vampire. I remember reading that back in the day.
And in breaking news, the Proton Pack has passed 20,000 backers.
Is that good?
It's gone up almost 1,000 just since we started talking about it tonight.
Jake said Roosevelt's Rain has the guy from Bleach who played the main character, was a Power Ranger. Yeah, well, she wrote a bulk of the episode. She created Wolf's Rain, this writer that died. So it's sad to see her go. And we had another death in Japan recently.
Yes, we did.
Another important figure to my childhood and many others. And typically, when I think of the NES, I think of Gunpei Yoko, who created the D-pad. He created the directional pad for the NES controller. But the gentleman that created the actual console itself, hopefully I don't butcher his name here, Masayuki Yamura, creator of the NES and SNES, has passed away. It has been revealed that NES and SNES lead architect Masayuki Yamura has passed away on December 6th at the age of 78.
Yeah.
The This is interesting. The Famicom, the system that would become the NES in the West, was the brainchild of Yumura, who joined Nintendo as an engineer from Sharp in 1972 at a time when it was tentatively exploring the possibilities of electronic entertainment. So keep in mind, Nintendo was just kind of dipping their toe in the water. They were originally a toy company. One of his first roles was to help with Nintendo's range of location-based light gun games. When Nintendo Research and Development 2 was created, Yumura was placed in charge, and he was instrumental in the development of Nintendo's color TV game systems, the company's first tentative foray into the realm of domestic video games. These were very basic gaming systems that had relatively crude built-in titles. Yumura began working on the Famicom in 1981 following a demand from Nintendo president Hiroshi Yamauchi that he create a device capable of playing arcade games on a TV, but with games that came on interchangeable cartridges.
Yeah.
Combined sales of the Famicom and its Western counterpart, the NES, totaled 61.91 million units. 20 million of those were in Japan alone. Research and Development 2 would not only produce the Famicom, but also the equally beloved successor, Super Nintendo, Super Famicom. He was also involved with the development of the Japan-only Famicom Disk System and Super Fermium Satellaview, as well as the iconic NES Zapper. The Zapper, right? Duck Hunt, you've probably seen it.
Sure.
Big orange gun that they included with it. It wasn't just hardware that Yumura had his hand in. During his time with the company, he also served as producer on several titles, including Ice Climbers, Clue Land, and a trilogy of sports titles, soccer, baseball, and golf. Yumura retired from Nintendo in 2004 and became a professor at the Ritsumeikan University in Kyoto, and the organization broke the sad news of his passing today. So, Big deal. I don't think you ever followed the PS4 C-Bomb CMS issue. The firmware 9.0 update was involved. The issue now, which is what I believe 4 months old. Yes, I did hear about that. Maybe I'll make a blurb of that next week. They remember that thing that was going to make the PS4 basically not work. They did an update to get rid of that. I don't remember if we followed up on that or not. I thought we did, but maybe we didn't. And Lister, okay, a little longer than I thought. Okay, cool. Yeah, you can check out Owen Lister's links there. I'm trying to think what else.
And by the way, I just wanted to clarify what I said earlier. I said that the pack had gone up over 1,000 just in the time we've been talking. I didn't specifically mean it was because of us talking about it that it went up over 1,000 backers. But then again, you never know.
It could have been. Yeah, you never know. I have to tell you, though, this was a big deal. Nintendo kind of saved console gaming after Atari dropped the ball. And
well, did Atari really drop the ball? Atari was a big deal.
They dropped the ball.
But they didn't continue to elevate it.
Here's what happened.
Nintendo was the next, new hotness.
Yes. Well, you know what was funny? Nintendo actually went to Atari and said, do you want to release the Nintendo over here under the Atari label? And they turned them down. So then Nintendo decided they were going to do it themselves over here. That was a mistake. And It's interesting. The guy that Satoru Iwata, another gentleman that passed away, he took over Nintendo after Yamauchi passed on. He actually created a Joust game for the NES to kind of explain to Atari, this is what you can make on our NES, Joust. Yeah. And of course, you'll have purists out there that actually prefer the Atari 7800 version of Joust. It's more arcade accurate, but because that was the competition that for the NES. But it was interesting that the guy that basically one of the Nintendo lead programmers made a version of Joust, which eventually did get released on the NES later on. But speaking of Sony, not speaking of Sony, but actually to the PS4 bomb. Yeah, but the PlayStation has another bomb this week, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, this was a big deal, and I noticed that a lot of the sites were curiously silent on this, and we're going to talk a little bit about that.
This is a topic that I have to believe, and I'm not usually a conspiracy theorist, but I happen to think there's a lot of elite people that are very, very bad people, and they don't like to talk about a certain bad topic. And when someone is guilty of this certain terrible crime, they don't want to talk about it.
This is not an accusation. This is not this person was caught in the act. Okay, I'll read the brief paragraph.
Yeah.
Sony PlayStation Network Vice President George Kakiopo has been terminated after being busted trying to lure a not actually 15-year-old boy to his house for adult stuff. The bigger situation here is that the video game news sites were very slow to cover it when IGN editor flat out said it wasn't newsworthy because he didn't know who this guy was. Say what? Yes. This is rather disturbing to me. And I noticed that Sony is the first one to throw stones at the audience and, start censoring Japanese video games for having,
Yeah.
like a woman in a bikini or something like that. And then you have one of the person in their midst
Yep.
acting in this manner. I think, and apparently he was wearing a PlayStation 5 shirt to meet the minor on the visit. I don't know if there was a promise of a PlayStation 5 in exchange for something else. I don't know. But it's sad when IGN and other gaming sites do not cover actual gaming journalism. Kotaku, out of all the biased sites, was one of the only gaming sites cover it. Well, you know what? I don't typically give them praise, but I'll give them praise here.
Yeah.
But let's see here, though. But yeah, anything else to say on this subject?
No, it's just I honestly do feel like we live. I think everybody can see the ridiculous double standard bias, right? We talk about hashtag Me Too, but then totally look the other way when it's obviously happening to certain people and they are vilified. And it's like, wait, isn't this exactly what you're saying we're supposed to be against? And you're vilifying this person who's pointing it out. What is wrong with you? It's okay to do it to men, but it's not okay to do it to women.
Yeah.
And then when you hear about something involving children, everybody wants to just shut up about it.
It's very disturbing. It makes you think that maybe people in power know more than what they're letting on, I think.
You need to understand that this absolutely is an evil world. You don't have to believe in any kind of religion to be aware of it. And you've got to be prepared to call it out when you see it. Or you are complicit.
And here we have the active. Well, I'm calling it out. Okay.
No, yeah. And I am too. And I'm not afraid if I get canceled or whatever because of it.
Do you think that IGN didn't cover this because Sony is they provide them with a lot of games coverage for the PlayStation console, and they were.
I think absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I could understand. Now, here's the other side of it. The fact that, the legacy media didn't cover it. Well, that I can kind of understand. I mean, to them, who is this guy? This is I've never heard of this guy. Is this news? I don't think so. Never mind. But within the gaming community, yeah, this.
You know who this is. They know who this is. They're full of crap. It's like Hollywood and Roman Polanski. Yep.
Kinda, yeah. No, I'd say that's a great analogy.
Do you know what the weird thing is? Is that I know that there was some in Hollywood that, we're losing this great director because he did this thing. I've never liked the Roman Polanski movie.
Me neither.
I don't like his style, and it's not even because of the other thing. I just don't like his movies.
It was almost like what do you call it? B-level, exploitative stuff. Is all it was.
Yeah, he did.
Little on the avant-garde side in a way that I didn't think was interesting or fun.
Yeah, like Chinatown. Did not enjoy that one. I mean, Jack Nicholson gives a great performance. There's some good performances in that.
Oh yeah.
I didn't like it as a movie. I didn't like Rosemary's Baby is another one, which I'd rather watch The Omen, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
it covers similar territory, and I think does it better. But Activision Blizzard employees to reveal demands for accountability and justice at press conference. So, of course, we talked about this a little bit in the beginning. Remember a while back with the big Activision, and it hasn't died down since then. It's been going on. I've tried to be very careful on how I cover this because they're treating it like this was I think there were some bad people over Activision doing some bad things to female employees. I don't know how endemic it is of all the staff that worked there, and I don't want people who weren't involved in this getting thrown under the bus. We do have courts for a reason. We have juries.
Sure.
Let's let it play out how it's supposed to play out. I don't want anyone's life getting ruined over. I don't want this to turn into a witch hunt on the wrong person. But anyway, going on to this article, though, attorney Lisa Bloom has announced a press conference demanding Activision Blizzard take accountability for its toxic work culture. Bloom, owner of the California base, the Bloom firm, along with a current Blizzard employee that Bloom represents, will be outside the company headquarters Wednesday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. A woman currently employed at Blizzard Entertainment and her attorney, Lisa Bloom, will describe the alcohol-soaked culture of sexual harassment the woman endured, reads a press release, including numerous sexual come-ons and physical touching, and the relation experience after she reported the sexual assault. The press release goes on to note that despite the California Fair Employment and Housing lawsuits and extensive reporting on the allegations against Activision Blizzard, the company has shrunk responsibility.
They don't edit these things either.
The identity of the Blizzard employee has not been revealed as of Tuesday. So we have an anonymous person making accusations. The announcement of this press conference comes only a day after Raven Software, one of Activision Blizzard studios, began planning a walkout following the layoff of many of its quality assurance contractors. Activision Blizzard pledged to eliminate workplace harassment via a new committee, though it received a heavy scrutiny from including several board members on the panel. High-profile figures from PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo were among the many to condemn Activision Blizzard's actions during the turbulent time at the company. Things are not good over there right now.
Nope.
I managed to convince a family member to get rid of their Activision stock before things got too hairy over there, because I don't know where the company's going to survive. I don't know what's going on. They're calling for the CEO to go away, Bobby Kotick, because apparently he threatened a woman, says I want her dead or something. This is another thing that happened. I also noticed that the Video Game Awards that happened this past week, no one mentioned anything from this Activision situation. They were getting called out for that. You know, Sting was at the Video Game Awards.
You mean the headliner of the police?
Yep.
No kidding.
And you're probably thinking, why was he there?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Did he do a voice on a game or something?
No, I think he was in a play production that involved a video game. I don't know. I didn't watch everyone hated the award ceremony. But anyway, bad stuff going on at Activision Blizzard, so we'll keep an eye out. You remember Activision from the Atari days. They made Pitfall.
Yeah.
They're still around. I don't know. Anybody in the chat have anything to say on this? Useful? Let me see. Bobby Kotick. Hold on. The Bobby Kotick has a lot of claims on himself. The Video Game Awards had gotten progressive this year. I didn't watch them, so I don't know.
Doesn't surprise me at all, though.
I don't know. You had that gentleman that got the award a few years ago, whose name was who apparently was a furry, and he was proclaiming how good it was to be a furry on stage.
Oh,
so.
God.
Speaking of things that make us cringe, Santa Inc.
I think this was maximum cringe. I mean, there is nothing fucking redeeming about this piece of shit.
This. Not enough to achieve a critics score. Why are the critics afraid? I'm starting to wonder if Seth Rogen has dirt on all of Hollywood, and that's why he keeps getting.
I don't know about that, but I can tell you that
because nobody wants to give it a bad review, but they can't give it a good review because it's that awful. That's how awful.
But that's got to tell you something in and of itself, right? I mean, so here's the thing. On the one hand, it's gotten 3 reviews? 2 positive and 1 negative.
Well, the one negative was from Variety, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
So the one credible one is negative. There's 2 positive, so you could argue that it's fresh, but they have a disclaimer. It actually had come up fresh initially, and now it says there's a disclaimer that there aren't really enough reviews to calculate its freshness level.
People are afraid of this show, or are they purposely ignoring reviews to on the Rotten?
No. Okay. I think what it really is, and it's not Seth Rogen specifically. I think it's just the where Hollywood is right now. Everyone is afraid to be honest. They don't want to piss off the purple-haired weirdos, so they'd rather just not say anything. But that, in and of itself, that silence is deafening.
Back in the day, if a television show was bad, people would just admit that it was bad. Even the director would basically admit to it, and everyone would move on. And,
Yeah.
You made a bad movie, it happens. Sometimes it's even beyond the director's control. Sometimes Murphy's Law happens during a production, and everything goes awry.
Right.
Like with William Shatner in Star Trek V.
I'll tell you what, though.
Give Shatner credit that he was trying to make a good movie. I like Shatner too much.
And not only that, I'll say something else. I think that movie holds up better than we remember it from its initial viewing.
I think it probably holds up better than anything that's come from at least from Paramount Plus.
Well, that's part of it, right? I mean, it's gotten so bad that by comparison, Star Trek V looks like, Oscar-winning material.
Well, the Game Awards had a segment on drag gamers and Black Lives Matter. Of course.
Of course they did, because that has so much to do with gaming, right?
But they won't condemn the Sony VP, soliciting a minor. So
right.
It's ridiculous. I have to say, gaming. We're going to get into the Seth Rogen thing in a minute. If you're into gaming, that's cool, and I am too, and I'll still find games to buy and enjoy. But the hobby is not what it was back like 10 years ago, 20 years ago. It used to be a more happening, fun place, and now, especially with everything going wrong with these companies, plus the fact that people can't buy these consoles because of the chip shortages and everything else, it's a little bit of the sparkle has come off the hobby a bit. But who knows? There's a new year coming up, right? Maybe everything's going to start to get better. We'll see. Speaking of things that could not get that can't possibly get better, is many are wondering if HBO Max's latest animated series Santa Inc. will get a season 2. Here's what we know: Santa Inc., HBO Max's latest 8-episode animated series from Seth Rogen and Sarah Silverman, landed on the streaming service earlier this month. Noddings to Rankin Bass Christmas specials like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and Santa Claus is Coming to Town, Santa Inc. follows a female elf named Candy Small Silverman, who decides that she wants to break down the inherent patriarchal structures of the North Pole and become the next Santa Claus, who's voiced by Seth Rogen. Since its release, however, Santa Inc. has received extremely negative reviews and currently holds a 4% audience rating on Rotten
I just
Tomatoes.
checked to see if anything had changed since Friday. No, it's still at 4% audience. Not enough ratings to calculate a score under critical ratings.
The holiday-inspired series wouldn't, of course, be the first time that Rogen had incorporated his signature and popular crude comedy into animated media. The 2016 comedy Sausage Party was filled with mature humor. Everybody I talked to hated this movie, Sausage Party.
Yeah.
Did you? Okay, leaving.
I this was another example of I saw the promos and knew enough not to see it, that I wouldn't be interested.
This is what's rather disturbing about all of this. I don't know why he's making these really nasty, raunchy comedies. If you call them funny, I don't think they're funny, but he's guising them on the veneer of children's material.
That's what a lot of people are saying. Who the fuck is the audience for this? It's not kids. It's not families. It's not even your average adult. It's only the blue-haired burnouts that want to sit on the couch, toke up, and laugh at bastardizations of things that everyone else loves.
Yeah. It says Rogen, in fact, blames white supremacists for the negative reviews, citing the series' progressive values as a fundamental reason for their dislike.
What the hell does white supremacy have to do with this piece of shit? There isn't even really a racial component to it.
It's ridiculous. Even still, when the show gets this much buzz, it is almost certain that many will be tuning in to watch The Order to judge for themselves. I did, so I guess I'm not going to count. I couldn't get past 2 episodes, but I run a show, and I got to talk about these things. The cast is led by the talented Rogen. No. Silverman. Okay, the chances of the show returning without these two are slim to none. So if they can't get they're interchangeable. Trust me. Okay, let me grow down here. I don't want to spend too much time. Okay, Santa Inc.'s plot in season 1 follows Candy as she tries to break through the patriarchy of the Earth Ball. Again, the first woman, Santa Claus. Candy's okay. Yeah, the season ends with her intern Devin being offered the position of Dana. Candy starts a revolution for Santa Inc.'s workers that lead to a walkout on Christmas Eve. On her way home from work one day, Candy accidentally runs over Junior, the reindeer, and flees the incident. We find out that Junior is still alive, leaving a major cliffhanger for the audience. The series has many strings left untied and sets up the possibility for a second season where Candy will continue her quest to bring down the patriarchy.
I don't care.
Oh
I
my
hope
god!
Junior and Candy both fucking die.
Do you know who Junior is supposed to be? That they
I
can't
don't
mention?
give a shit.
Well, no, his nose glows. They can't mention Rudolph though because that's copyrighted, and no one who owns the Rudolph copyrighted
Whatever.
the show.
Don't care.
Stupid. Okay, let's move on.
Honestly, this is the biggest load of shit. I mean, I just, he needs to be out of work. He really, really does.
I can't believe they gave him the voice for Donkey Kong.
I honestly have no interest in seeing that movie now because of that.
I don't know. We'll see. It could just be him doing grunts. Like Donkey
That's
Kong
about
actually
all
doesn't
he's
talk.
capable of.
In the games, he doesn't talk. Donkey Kong doesn't talk. He just does these little, grunts and mannerisms, but he doesn't actually speak.
Well, that's the worst part, right? Because if that's who Donkey Kong is, and then you decide to give him, a whole full-on voice with dialogue, I don't care who they're casting as it. That's miscast.
Cranky, oddly enough, his grandfather, Cranky Kong, talks. The old Donkey Kong talks, and he's basically he's the geezer. He's the geezer in that game.
Yeah.
The boomer guy in that who's
right.
Back in my day, we had 4 shades of gray, and it was enough, for colors in the game.
Exactly.
Stuff like that. But it's a little tongue in cheek, like he's from the old school arcade days, and he's now an old man, and he's making fun of
4
kids,
shades of gray.
Yeah, it's stuff like that, and like he has all these rants he goes on about how much better video games were back in his day, and all this stuff, and it's just,
yeah.
It's kind of a funny riff on, like Nintendo poking fun at themselves.
Yep.
Which Nintendo can do because they have a sense of humor. Here we go. I've been looking forward to this one. I watched this promo video. I actually hunted it down online.
Wasn't it terrible?
I had to see what all the hoopla
and did you see the welcome video too? That one was just as terrible.
Which is the welcome?
It was actually
video?
Worse.
I saw the one with the. I guess the kid from the actor from the Gold.
Yeah, that was the promo video they took down.
Okay, I didn't see the welcome video. You'll have to tell me about it. But
okay.
Let me read from this article. It appears that Disney has removed a promotional video for its new Star Wars hotel from Twitter and YouTube after fans criticized the cost and design online. According to Inside the Magic, Disney previously shared a behind-the-scenes video of Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser on November 28th. A promotional video showcased the hotel's interior and featured new characters like Gaia, a galactic pop star who will entertain guests, which garnered some pushback. The outlet reported that some fans believed the spaceship's design was below the company's usual standard for immersive experiences. Inside the Magic also reported that some fans and online commentators thought the prices were too high for the experience. The Disney World website shows that 2 guests can rent a cabin for $1,209 per night or $4,809 for the entire voyage. Was that a week? The total
it's only a 2-night thing.
Oh my goodness! The total voyage costs increases to $5,299 with 3 guests per cabin and $5,999 for 4 guests. Representative for Walt Disney World did not immediately respond to insiders' requests for comment. I watched the promo video with the young actor, I guess from that show, The Goldbergs, and one of the designers of the place.
The
woman in charge of the experience. Did you see the promotional video? What did you think?
I did. So first, let's address that singer who basically is a Twi'lek version of the singer from The Fifth Element. I mean, if you're going to have a blue-skinned Twi'lek singer, oh my God, why don't you just say, you know what? Screw this, go watch The Fifth Element. I mean, because that singer is blue-skinned alien with, things coming off of her head.
Yeah, that's what they took that from.
Holy crap! You couldn't rip it off more if you got the same actress.
That's interesting. Yeah, because he steps into a cantina bar and everyone's sitting around. I guess the idea is this is part role-playing experience, like you're you're pretending to be a person in the Star Wars universe. And you
Sure, that's great. Okay. Then maybe try to make the sets and the controls and stuff actually look like Star Wars, not like generic Star Trek.
You know what they reminded me of? They reminded me of I
Space 1999.
No,
sure.
I'm thinking Star Crash. Remember Star Crash?
Yeah.
The Hasselhoff Star Wars knockoff Italian movie.
Do not charge me over $1,000 a night and put me in a B film.
I don't know. A B film environment might be kind of interesting, but no, that's not. But that's not what you're looking for when you go.
Exactly.
To I don't know. Do you think the cost is too much for what you get? Do you get meals and stuff? And
nope. Everything's extra.
You don't get meals with this. I thought meals were included. Okay.
No, it's just like it's all gonna. And they even talk about and drinks. Drinks are going to be extra, and of course they're going to have special events that you could pay extra for. Yeah, it's definitely something for the rich. It's not for your average family.
But are the rich? Well, apparently, it's booked solid for 4 months. So
it was booked solid.
What happened? Wait a minute.
People have started backing out because it was all booked up, and people couldn't, would go and see. Can I get this night? Can I get that night? Suddenly, nights are opening up.
I'm telling you.
Kind of like what happened with the Rancor when they released what the stretch goals were going to be.
Instead of the Mos Eisley Cantina Band or the Max Rebo Band, we get the singer from The Fifth Element.
Yep.
Yep. Could I go to a Fifth Element hotel for half the price? That might be interesting.
That actually would probably be. That's the other thing. People, I didn't make this connection, and I'm kind of surprised. When you see what the cabins look like, they actually look like the apartments from The Fifth Element that, like Bruce Willis's character was in. It actually looks like that.
This part of the problem with Disney right now is that they're trying to sell Star Wars, and what are they trying to sell at this point? Like, what's the narrative they're trying to sell with Star Wars? What's canon, what isn't, everything else?
The other thing is that I get the distinct impression that this is supposed to be taking place in the sequel trilogy era.
No.
So that's another thing that totally turns people. Oh, the best! You saw the footage of the lightsaber training, right?
Yeah, they're like, you get
oh my God, that looks stupid. That looks like something you could buy for your own home. All it is you move the lightsaber into a beam. When they have the technology, you should be putting on a helmet like Luke was wearing in Star Wars. And it's all virtual. And you can respond to an actual remote. But no, that would be too much like an Imagineer doing Imagineering things.
Why wouldn't they do that, actually? You could put the helmet on, and then suddenly you're in the augmented reality environment, right? You could be hitting things and just... I don't know.
They are literally shooting themselves in the foot with this. And that's the other thing. Maybe, let's say, best case scenario. Bunch of rich people decide they're going to fill up all the nights and they're going to go to this thing. Do you think they'll go the following year again? How much repeat business do you expect to get?
This whole thing strikes me as bizarre. What was the welcome video like?
So the welcome video is told from the point of view of some, I don't know. She's one of the aliens that, Let's just say it the way it is. Star Wars has a racism problem, and it's not the one most people think, okay? They have this tendency to create alien races, and those races become caricatures of real-world races, right?
Okay.
So there is this... there were 2 Jedi characters from the prequels that were played by Indian women. Okay.
Right.
And they have colored skin with these diamond patterns on their faces, like tattooed.
Right.
That's a race, right? Well, they got this Indian woman with these tattoos, and she's a helms person or something for this Starliner or whatever, and she's doing the kind of welcome video that you might get if you were taking a cruise, right? And talking you through the experience, all this kind of stuff. And as she's talking about different people and events and stuff, she holds up a device okay, so if this was the prequels, it would be that little round disc that Qui-Gon had, and a little hologram would come up for the person you're talking to, right?
Okay.
You know what she's holding up?
What?
It's an iPhone. And the little light thing from the iPhone is projecting it's very clearly a fucking iPhone. It's like, are you shitting me? You didn't bother to make a Star Wars looking prop. You have her holding a fucking iPhone?
Yeah, well, couldn't Apple sue them over that? No, okay. Maybe Apple has a stake in this. Maybe they put
well, that could be. Maybe it's product placement, but that is just boneheaded. What the fuck is wrong with you people? I just and it's really lame and really boring. And she does kind of talk through some of the some of the things that you could do that were in the other video. And then at the very end, there's like, oh, I'm getting a message. And she goes, I was told by the company, I need to give the disclaimer that we are not responsible for attacks by pirates or this and that, and da, just so that you know. Thank you and have a wonderful time. So that implies that there's going to be a pirate attack or something during the events. But it's like, yeah. And it's like, you know what? I just don't care. This is not something I'd be saying to Nanette. Can we get together a couple $1,000 and then fly down to Florida and do this thing and, spend extra money? Yeah, Netter's looking at me like she's going to divorce me.
The Star Trek experience was great.
I know! The Star Trek experience by comparison was fucking brilliant.
So should maybe these people have taken a note from the Star Trek experience and done that, made their Star Wars experience more like that?
That's the problem. It's when it used to be that Disney and their Imagineers and all this, they were the gold standard. They were what all the other parks, all the other events looked to and said, I want to do something like Disney. Now it's completely the other way around. Universal Studios theme park is the height, and even the now defunct a couple decades ago Star Trek The Experience was better than what Disney is trying to shit out right now.
Yeah. Well,
look, don't get me wrong. I am not just one of those people that wants to hate everything and shit all over it and say, I want Disney to do good Star Wars. They're just fucking not. And not only are they not focusing on the eras and the characters and the pastiches that the fans want, but their marketing just sucks. They're half-assing the shit that they're putting out.
See, with me, I want Warner Brothers to go back to the greatness that they were. They're really stumbling right now. I was actually saying the praise of HBO Max when I first got access to it. I thought that the selection was actually very good, and then we got Santa Inc.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'll say this: 8-Bit Christmas was a solid little Christmas movie.
Warner Brothers is a whole thing altogether. I think we're seeing the end of an era here, because not only are we seeing the death of comics, but we're seeing the literal death of the heroes of comics in real time.
Wow. Yeah.
Because we just got word today, an official announcement from George Perez.
Yes.
Stage 3 pancreatic cancer, and he's not going to fight it.
That's rough. Of course, I've had family members that have gotten the cancer too, and it's never easy. Legendary writer and artist George Perez has made a public reveal that he has been diagnosed with stage 3 pancreatic cancer. The news came from his art agent via a private Facebook page and has been shared on a new public page Perez has set up to share with news and updates. In the post, I can read the full post if you'd like. To all my fans, friends, and extended family, it's rather hard to believe that it's been almost 3 years since I formally announced my retirement from producing comics due to my failing vision and other infirmities brought on primarily by my diabetes. At the time, I was flattered and humbled by the number of tributes and testimonials given to me by my fans and peers. The kind words spoken on those occasions were so heartwarming that I used to quip that, quote-unquote, the only thing missing from those events was me lying in a box. It was amusing at the time, I thought. Now, not so much. On November 29th, I received confirmation that after undergoing surgery for a blockage in my liver, I have stage 3 pancreatic cancer. It is surgically inoperable, and my estimated life expectancy is between 6 months to a year. I have been given the option of chemotherapy and or radiation therapy, but after weighing all the variables and addressing just how much of my remaining days would be eaten up by doctors' visits, treatments, hospital stays, and dealing with the often stressful and frustrating bureaucracy of the medical system, I've opted to just let nature take its course, and I will enjoy whatever time I have left as fully as possible with my beautiful wife of over 40 years, my family, friends, and my fans. Since I received my diagnosis and prognosis, those in my inner circle have given me so much love, support, and help, both practical and emotional. They've given me peace. There will be some business matters to take care of before I go. I'm already arranging with my art agent to refund the money paid for sketches that I can no longer finish. And since, despite only having one working eye, I can still sign my name, I hope to coordinate one last mass book signing to help make my passing a bit easier. I also hope that I will be able to make one last public appearance wherein I can be photographed with as many fans as possible, with the proviso that I get to hug each and every one of them. I just want to be able to say goodbye with smiles as well as tears.
Yeah.
I know that many of you will have questions to ask or comments to make, and rather than fueling the fires of speculation, well-meaning but potentially harmful miscommunication, I will be returning to the arena of social media by starting a new Facebook account where fans and friends can communicate with me or my designated rep directly for updates and clarification. For media and press inquiries, please use the contact information on the page as well. Please respect the privacy of my wife and family at this time and use the Facebook page rather than reaching out through other channels. I may not be able to respond as quickly as I would like, since I will be endeavoring to get as much outside pleasure as I can. Time allotted to me, and I will do my best. Kind words would also be greatly appreciated. More details to follow once it's up and running. Well, that's it for now. This is not a message I enjoyed writing, especially during the holiday season, but oddly enough, I'm feeling the Christmas spirit more now than I have in many years, maybe because it will likely be my last, or maybe because I am enveloped in the loving arms of so many who loved me as much as I loved them. It's quite uplifting to be told that you've led a good life, that you've brought joy to so many lives, and that you'll be leaving this world a better place because you were part of it. To paraphrase Lou Gehrig, some people may think I got a bad break, but today I feel like the luckiest man on the face of the earth. Take care of yourselves, and thank you, George Perez, December 7, 2021. Wow.
So for those of you that don't know who George Perez is, you'll hear me talking a lot about my history with comics, especially, DC. He did some work, for other companies as well, but I know him from the DC era, and he was becoming very big in DC as I was getting into comics. I was kind of leaving the Silver Age. We were kind of starting to go into the Bronze Age. We hit that Crisis on Infinite Earths. He was a big part of that. He was also a very big part of the reboot of Wonder Woman in the post Crisis era. In Crisis on Infinite Earths, they sunsetted Wonder Woman. She died in the course of the story, and then when they rebooted afterwards, there was no Wonder Woman. Superman had just come into prominence and whatnot, and so they started a new series where Wonder Woman is first time coming to man's world in the 80s, right? And it was a very interesting story. They retroactively found a way to have Wonder Woman in World War II by having it be a time travel situation, and it was her mother. And without getting too complicated, it was a really good Wonder Woman run. And what I wish they would have drawn more on when they got to those movies. But George Perez also was very influential in the Teen Titans. He created some great characters that I loved. Got to meet him in Metropolis, Illinois a couple years back, and he did a little doodle for me. He was making sketches, and people were obviously asking him to do Superman because it was a Superman themed event.
Right.
And I was like, I know everyone's asking you to do Superman, but I don't want that. If I'm meeting the great George Perez, I want one of your characters. Can you do Jericho for me? Now, those of you that are Teen Titans fans might know Jericho. He is the son of the Terminator, Deathstroke the Terminator.
Right.
And he has this ability to like literally take over somebody else's body. Very interesting character, incredible history. And so I have an original sketch of Jericho by and signed by George Perez, and it hurts my heart, but great DC writers like George Perez have been pushed out of the big name companies, which is why these companies are going to shit. So,
but who will remember him will remember their work will be remembered, whereas this stuff will get.
He'll be known as the last generation of great comic book creators. Yeah.
And I wish him. I wish him the best in this terrible time. It looks like he is surrounded by a lot of loved ones, and so many fans love him too. You did leave this world a better place, and as the other people we've mentioned who passed, they've left the world a better place too. So it's but it's rough though. I know cancer. It's rough on families, and so of course the individual as well. But, yeah. But let's see. Let's see. I remember. And this says I remember reading Crisis on Infinite Earths and the Infinity Gauntlet. What I love about his art is how creative he is with the panels, the detail in his art, and much space he gives. Yeah.
Yep.
But I guess we'll be keeping an eye. I mean, it's rough, and he's not going to get that. And I don't blame him for not getting the treatment either. I mean, that could be.
When you're that far into it, he's probably going. It's not going to work, and it's just going to make things worse. Why bother?
Yeah. Well, I wish I don't know what to say. Actually, I'm trying to think of something. I mean, he left the world a better place, and he's still with us now. And I hope that everybody shows him and his family the respect they deserve, and at least he's giving it one last for all. Like he's actually going to try to get out there and see the fans one last time, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
And he knows what the priorities are. The priorities are his family and his friends and his fans. So, kudos to him.
Agreed.
All right. Moving on, we have some Batman the Animated Series news, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, you and Mr. Matchstick have been talking a lot about this. I haven't really been keeping up on it, but it sounds interesting.
They've been doing audio dramas lately.
So basically what you're telling me is they're doing the animated series just without the animation.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. Let me read Owen's comment here. Hold on a second. But yeah, it's I lost my dad due to cancer, as I feel sympathy for what he and his family are going through right now. Yeah, I'm sorry for your loss, Owen. It's rough. It's always rough in families. But yeah, Batman the Animated Series without the animation. Do you know what's interesting? Remember, I used to make a comment about the Jackie Chan Adventures cartoon. Remember that?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, it's martial arts without actual martial arts. You're just seeing it animated,
Yeah.
But no, I like that cartoon. It's kind of odd we're getting a Batman the Animated audio drama in the works with the original cast.
Yeah.
I'll read a bit from this article. The Bat family may be getting back together in podcast form. On Saturday during Los Angeles Comic-Con, actor Kevin Conroy, Batman, and John Glover, the Riddler, revealed that an audio drama was in the works that will continue the 1990s Batman the Animated Series. According to the actors, Batman the Animated Series writing Alan Burnett is developing the project. That's interesting. Did you know? I forgot to mention John Glover. He's the guy that played Lionel Luthor on Smallville. Remember?
Oh yeah, and a lot of other characters in a lot of other, not only a lot of other movies, but specifically a lot of comic book films and shows and
that's
whatnot.
True. He was the scientist in the Schumacher Batman and Robin. Remember that?
Well, Dr. Jason Woodrow, who would have been the Floronic Man if they developed that character. Yeah,
exactly.
Also, did a lot of Star Trek too. He played a Vulcan and a number of other characters. Not a Vulcan, Romulan.
Right. I remember him. Yeah, and he did voice the Riddler on the classic Batman animated series. It's a great script by Alan Burnett, and it brings back the original cast. Conroy said during the History of Batman panel, hosted by London Jackson. Adam Glover, the Riddler's back, and he's evolved in many ways. He understands he's on the spectrum. Not sure what that means, but panel also featured Will Friedle, who starred in Batman Beyond as Terry McGinnis Batman. Batman the animated series which ran for 85 episodes from 92 to 95. Also voice starred Mark Hamill as the Joker and introduced the world to the show's breakout character Harley Quinn, Arlene Sorkin. It was set in a 1940s style world and embraced the noir nature of Dark Knight. It also established Conroy as what many consider the definitive Batman voice actor, and jumped to the big screen for Batman Mask of the Phantasm. The series won an Emmy for Outstanding Animated Program in 1993. It's interesting, though, while it is unknown which cast members might return for the audio drama, surviving voice actors include Paul Williams, the Penguin, Richard Mall, Two-Face, David Warner, Ra's al Ghul, Diane Pershing, Poison Ivy, Andrea Bardot, not Barbecue. Adrienne Barbeau. Okay, that's John Carpenter's ex-wife, the one who was in Swamp Thing. Yeah, she's going to be Catwoman. Ron Perlman as Clayface, Melissa Gilbert as Barbara Gordon, and Lauren Lester, Dick Grayson, Nightwing. There's also multiple Batman audio dramas in the marketplace right now. HBO Max has Batman: The Audio Adventure starring Jeffrey Wright as Batman. And while Spotify has the upcoming Batman Uncharted starring Winston Duke as the Cape Crusader. It's weird how they're making all these Batman audio dramas all at once, don't you think?
They don't know anything besides Batman. So what else are they going to do?
It's interesting. I did listen to, I think, an episode of the one on HBO Max. It's interesting. It almost plays off like a program of little skits. Like one of the skits is a gentleman who's being, they're two criminals, and one is telling him, this is what you have to do when you work for the Joker. You always have to laugh at his jokes, but you can't fake laugh at his jokes. He don't like that. And like he's explaining, and we don't even see the Joker in it, just him, this guy explaining what it's like to go work for the Joker, and I'm thinking this guy's going to get murdered for doing something wrong. Do you understand? And it was a funny little skit. So it's and like another is like a little skit of Batman and Robin taking down Two-Face, and they're like they're usually like 5-minute things, and they go on to a next thing, like Catwoman might be trying to steal something. So it's kind of an interesting little radio drama, but I haven't listened to more of it. No distribution plans have been revealed for the new podcast, but Conroy revealed another veteran of 90s animated series is attached to the project set. Danny Elfman will write the theme. So Danny Elfman will write is he going to write a new Batman theme? He wrote the iconic one, didn't he?
That I don't know.
The movie, I don't know. Okay. But keep an eye out for it. Speaking of things having nothing to do with Batman, we have Patty Jenkins being removed from the Cleopatra movie.
Yeah, so that's pretty interesting stuff. And the best place to get the information on that is first check out Valiant Renegade on YouTube, Midnight's Edge on YouTube, and Kamran Pasha on Patreon, because actually he's the source for most of the others. But that is a very interesting thing. I think the best one, though, for this particular piece was Valiant Renegade. Valiant Renegade does his videos in the form of news and right. discussions, kind of like we do. And he starts his video out, in the news today, Patty Jenkins will be stepping back from what was the Star Wars one? The Star Wars
Rogue Squadron.
To work on some other projects that she already has lined up, including Cleopatra. Wait, this just in. Patty Jenkins stepping away from Cleopatra to work on Rogue Squadron. Wait, what? And then he goes into his intro and he goes, okay, let's try to piece this out. Literally, funny. 2 different articles. One saying she's stepping away to do Rogue Squadron. The other way she's stepping away from Rogue Squadron to work on Cleopatra. How funny is that? And so they've asked. Go ahead.
Why is Patty Jenkins suddenly being removed from these projects?
Well, again, this is we don't know these things. We can only speculate. But you look to somebody who works in the industry who would have some insight, and Kamran Pasha said it sounds to him, to all the world, she pissed off the Writers Guild. Okay, she wanted writing credit on the first Wonder Woman movie and did not get it. But she built herself up a good deal of capital by being the director of a very successful movie in Wonder Woman. So then she gets to the second movie and she says, I will have writing credits on this. She writes, I don't know how much of the script for that second movie, and it effectively flopped. So now she's lost all of the political capital she had from the first movie. Now she's, immediately after that, Star Wars looks at her and goes, yeah, we can't really afford to bring somebody in who, and we saw it happen. It happened with D&D from Game of Thrones. They were supposed to work on something Star Wars. They fucked up what they were working on. So Lucasfilm said, yeah, no, I'm not going to work with you. And now it's happening with her too. It's like, don't think that Lucasfilm is in a position to. They'll pull in people that have the political capital because they're successful and they've done well. But you screw up the last project you worked on, and maybe you aren't the person that we want. Plus, she came out in an interview basically bad-mouthing Kathleen Kennedy, saying that they had creative differences. She couldn't work with her, which was something that a lot of other directors had said. It's no big surprise. Everybody knows that under Kathleen Kennedy, she's fired more directors, or more directors have quit than have actually made movies for her. She's notoriously impossible to work with, and then when a movie does end up coming out, it sucks. So, that's not a great track record right there. But yeah, she's pissed off some people in the industry. So it's really looking to all the world like she's done. She's pretty much done in Hollywood. And before Wonder Woman, where was she? She did a lot of television back in the day. Go back and look at her IMDb. But there was a long stretch there before she got Wonder Woman. She rode the fact that she was a woman, and she had one success. And people were all excited to give a woman with some success the backing, and she did not continue to produce. Hollywood has always been, what have you done for me lately?
Yeah, but again, not to bring up Seth Rogen, but I bring up other people, like Abrams keeps getting handed things after handed things.
Well, we've talked about,
he get second chances.
We've talked about J.J. Abrams, and J.J. Abrams has been an artist about getting big accolades for something and then moving on before it goes to shit. The shit doesn't stick to him.
Ryan Johnson did with his mystery movies that he's doing now. He moved on before. But apparently Jenkins had moved on to Cleopatra, though, right? But now she's being replaced by Carrie Skoglund, who recently directed Marvel TV series The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Now, I'm sorry. I don't think that's an improvement. I mean, Wonder Woman 89.
But what did you say? She produced it?
She directed it.
She did direct it. Okay.
Or maybe she didn't write it. I don't know.
See, that's the big problem. We do have a tendency to blame directors for writing, and that's kind of unfair to do. And I think Patty Jenkins is a perfect.
But yeah.
Well, in general, because. And Patty Jenkins is a great example of that. She did not write the first Wonder Woman movie. And I'll be the first one to say, I did not want to see that movie. I had serious problems with many of the decisions they made about that movie. But from everything that I've heard from people that saw the movie, they enjoyed it. It was well written. She did not do that.
Okay.
Despite what she wants to have the byline. She didn't. She directed it, and apparently she did a reasonable job directing it. When she got her hands into the writing of it, we got Wonder Woman 2. And it starts to cause you to question, well, if your writing is this bad, how much of the directing are you really doing? You know, what happened here, girl? And so I will always point out there is a distinct job difference between a writer and a director. A director can be given a shit script and do a very visually stunning job and pull the acting ability out of the actors and get everything meshed together and make sure the editing all works and come up with a good looking movie. But you hate the movie because you hate the story. That's not the director's fault. Now, I don't know enough about the directing on Winter Soldier because I did not see it. I did not watch that show.
Yeah,
I heard enough about the story to know I wouldn't like it. So I can't, in fairness, say anything about her as a director.
Well, to be fair, she's worked on a lot of things. She's directed episodes of The Handmaid's Tale, The Punisher, I guess that's the Punisher Netflix series, Walking Dead, The Americans, and House of Cards. I did like The Americans.
So again, you mentioned The Handmaid's Tale. The writing may suck, but maybe the directing's really good. I did see all of The Punisher, and there was not one episode that was poorly directed. Now, it was all different directors, but
maybe she did an episode or two. Is that what it says?
But yeah, there wasn't one that stood out as bad where you could say, well, that was the one she did. They were all good. And I'll tell you, when I think directing for a TV show, I think of The Punisher. Every single episode had either great dramatic scenes or great fight scenes or both. And both are difficult to do, to direct well. And when you say good things about the actors, some of the credit on that goes to the director because they bring out the best in the actors. Anyway, I don't know this particular woman. I don't know any of her specific episodes or movies. The only thing I can point to is that script doctor who contributes to Midnight's Edge has worked with her and knows her work and has vouched for her. I trust him, so I'm willing to accept she's probably a better choice than Patty Jenkins.
So it says that Paramount Pictures is backing Cleopatra, which remains in development stages at the studio. Paramount won the rights to the project last year, reportedly beating out Apple, Universal, Warner Brothers, and Netflix. Okay, so I guess...
And I'll tell you something else about that Cleopatra project. Take a look at who the writing credit is on that. Based on a story by Gal Gadot. She's got story by credit. Okay. She didn't actually write it, but it was her idea. And the Writing Guild is willing to give that to her. That says something. That means this is really Gal Gadot's product. Gal Gadot. That's how she pronounces it. Gal Gadot's project.
You know what the problem with her last name is? People have said it so many different ways, and I forget which way is correct.
It's because we all know Waiting for Godot, and so we all want to pronounce it that way. But we really should pronounce it the way she herself pronounces it.
Obviously, yeah.
It's her name. So Gal Gadot. Thank you. Gal Gadot came up with this idea. She wanted to do this thing. So I'll tell you something else. For all the people that have a problem with her being cast as Cleopatra, this project doesn't happen if she's not in it because it's her project.
I am looking forward to it. Plus...
But that being said, I will also say that anyone who has a problem with her in that role doesn't know the history of Cleopatra. She is perfectly cast for this
Greek
role.
Descent, right? Cleopatra, I believe.
Well, Hellenistic. So yeah, you could argue Greek. Yes.
So whatever. She's already played Wonder Woman. It's fine. We'll see. I just want to give a little warning, though. You do realize that the Cleopatra movie with Elizabeth Taylor almost sunk a studio. Remember that?
Yeah, but it was a great film, and it's well remembered.
It did, but it did not. In fact, that 20th Century Fox that put that out back in the day, and I think maybe like something like Breakfast at Tiffany's rescued it. It did not do well.
Well, it's interesting you say that because Cleopatra was a big epic film, right? It was probably one of the last big epic films.
Yes.
Right? When you think of those kinds of movies, you think of the Bible, you think of, Ten Commandments, you think of, big period pieces with humongous sets and lots of extras. Well, we're now seeing that if you're going to make a movie like that, you got to scale it back. And there's a lot of ways to cheat these days. There's 3D sets, there's virtual extras, there's all kinds of things you can do.
And you don't need a cast of thousands anymore.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
Lester says goodnight, and he'll follow you on Instagram.
Please do, and as soon as you do, I'll follow you back, and then I'll get your Instagram details out to everyone so they could check out your work. He's a budding comic book artist.
Cool.
And he's worth following. Yeah.
Toys R Us is returning again, this time with ice cream and a 2-story slide.
You sent me this article and I just chuckled. Because what did you say? You're like, ice cream's good.
Yes, well, ice cream is. You don't like ice cream, huh? Okay.
Oh no, I do. It's just
what is PaPa Pacelli's favorite flavor of ice cream? Let's see.
Mint chocolate chip.
Interesting. That's probably my second favorite.
I've gotten to a point in my life where rich dairy products don't agree with me very well, and I'm going to suffer later on. So if I'm going to have ice cream, it's got to be good. I've done the chocolate, I've done the vanilla. They're okay, but they're not worth the suffering I'll get later. Mint chocolate chip ice cream always is.
Cool. You know who makes a really good mint chocolate chip ice cream if you want to get it? Tillamook. Have you heard of that brand?
Yes, I have.
Yes, you've probably seen them advertised. Pick that up. You'll be in heaven.
I would also argue that if there's a company of ice cream out there that does a mint chocolate chip without the green food coloring, I'd be all for that. I don't see any reason why mint chocolate chip has to be dyed green.
No, and Breyers is white. Their mint chocolate chip is white, and so is Tillamook. Theirs is white as well.
Okay, good.
Breyers ain't bad either, but I do think Tillamook was just perfect, and it's white. It's white.
I used to say the same thing about white versus yellow cheddar cheese, but I've kind of backed off of that. I see them almost as two different flavors because that yellow that you get in cheese, you may or may not know that, but that's beta carotene. That they get from. Probably they get it from carrots, but they can get it from a number of places. Okay. It does change the flavor a little bit, and it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Okay.
But the dyes that they use to give ice cream color, that's food coloring, and it's not necessary, and sometimes it brings a flavor that shouldn't be there. Anyway, that has nothing to do with Toys R Us returning.
It does, because there's an ice cream parlor in it, which probably has green.
Well, and there's
has puke green.
Actually, before I even get to any of that, why don't you go ahead and share with them the news, and then I'll just rain on your parade.
Of this article. Okay.
Yeah.
Toys R Us is set to open a store with a 2-story slide and ice cream parlor inside the store. The new location will be in New Jersey at American Dream Mall. For people looking to make the trek for Christmas, you're in luck, as the space will be open to the public in mid-December. Toys R Us is no stranger to comeback attempts. Back in 2017, the company filed for bankruptcy and was forced to close all U.S. stores. However, this wasn't the end of the iconic brand. Numerous pop-up shops have been unveiled in recent years. Overseas, consumers will see big physical spaces for Toys R Us as well. With millennials getting older, it would only make sense to ride nostalgia wave like most other sectors are. However, for many of the executives at the company, the allure of their product kind of speaks for itself. Check out what they had to say with USA Today. Toys R Us is back, and it's back in a mega way, Yehuda Schmidman said. Toys R Us chairman and CEO explained to the outlet, this is going to be our largest format store in America. I don't believe that Toys R Us needs a turnaround as a brand because the brand is awesome. We're just trying to bring it back to America, and we're trying to do it with a modern day distribution. Chiming in during the same release was Schmidman. They wrote, "Our partnership with Macy's marks a great anticipated return of Toys R Us in the United States and changes the retail landscape by combining two beloved retail brands together for consumers across the nation in a completely innovative way. We're thrilled to be launching this new partnership together at Macy's." So I guess they're going to be doing Macy's partnership stores as well. Now you want to rant on my parade? What's going on?
Okay, I am nothing if not consistent. Okay, I am not, and I think this is true of you too. We are intellectually honest. We express our opinions here, and we, unlike some channels, we don't go back on that. To ride the wave of whatever the currents are doing. Right.
Right.
And we talked about Toys R Us when they closed up, and I expressed some of why I felt it was closing up. And then when they talked about bringing it back, I said, if they don't correct the things that I said were a problem in the first place, it's not going to be a success. And now we're seeing yet another attempt. And they're saying some of the right things, but I'm not seeing the specifics that I need to see. Right? Just to reiterate the quote you just said, "This is going to be our largest format store in America. I don't believe that Toys R Us needs a turnaround as a brand because the brand is awesome. We're just trying to bring it back to America, and we're trying to do it with a modern day distribution." Okay. That last sentence is key, and it does fill me with a little bit of hope. But what are they actually doing? Big store in conjunction with Macy's, with a slide and ice cream. That was the flagship store concept that didn't work the last time they tried to bring it back. Okay? If you're going to be focusing on a modern day distribution, you need to be doing what I said they failed to do when they closed up in 2017. And that was, if I go into your store and I'm looking for a toy and you don't have it, you have somebody on me saying, "Come with me, we'll find out where we can get it." And they look in their computer and they go, "It's over at the Hinsdale store. That's 15 minutes away. Do you want me to have them hold it for you, or I can have it shipped over here?" Or, "It's not available anywhere around here, but our distribution center has it. We can have it sent to your house. We'll check you out now. It'll arrive in a week." Well, if they don't do that, and they don't have an online store where instead of just going to the physical store, I could just do the Amazon thing, go online and get it, they will not succeed, because that is the modern day distribution.
Gimbal doesn't have it. They're for send people over to Macy's.
Yeah, but in this case, it's a store that's got so many outlets, they should be sending us to their other Toys R Us stores, or finding it online and getting it to us. Troy, and I don't see that.
Troy, I just have 2 words to say to you, but ice cream.
Are they going to sell enough ice cream to be able to pay for the storefront in fucking New York? That's the problem, because these big stores need to bring in as much money as they spend on their lease, and no company is. And with all the lockdowns and the shit that's going on in New York, businesses are fleeing New York.
Yeah. Well,
so if that's going to be your anchor, you're building on sandy ground there. What they should be focusing more on than ice cream and slides is an online store. They shouldn't be having any physical stores. They should be doing virtual stores only, and then slowly start to open up physical brick and mortars around the country. Not in New York City, okay?
Well,
but in the suburbs of all these cities.
Well, I don't know. I remember the big 4-story store, Toys R Us store in New York City, which I guess is not there anymore, huh? Okay.
Yeah, there's a reason for that.
That was a nice store, too.
It costs more money to keep open than they actually made. That is not a good way to do business.
So maybe set up an online store, maybe even have exclusive toys that are only sold there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because right now, Target's doing it. Walmart's doing it. In fact, speaking of Target, I literally just got my exclusive animated Droids C-3PO figure today.
Cool.
and it was a Target exclusive. You
All
know,
right.
so and I mean, you follow, if you follow the toy blogs and YouTubes, they all talk about the exclusives and the so forth and how they exist and why they exist. And absolutely, Toys R Us has had great, promos in the past. They could in the future, and they can be online as well as in a brick and mortar store. Look, you want to do a brilliant comeback, you do it online, and you build an online distribution modern day distribution model. Okay, you become very successful, and then you open a few stores around, because this whole mall concept, we were just talking about how malls are going away, especially in the COVID era. You're not allowed to be more than 10 feet from somebody. You can't walk around inside of a mall without a mask on and eat ice cream. What are you kidding? Being around other people? Do you want people to die? What's wrong with you?
They said during Black Friday, like a lot of these stores, you can only have like 2 or 3 people in there at a time. It says, no, you got to wait outside till these people leave the store.
And most people were buying all their shit online anyway.
So yeah, I don't know.
I want to see Toys R Us come back, but they need to do it the smart way. And you know what? They got to start marketing online too. They could, you know what they could do? They're talking about nostalgia and their brand. Start making commercials again. You know, I want to be a Toys R Us kid, and release them on a YouTube channel, and they'll go viral on the Twitters and the tweets and the Facebookses and the stuff. People would love that shit.
They could make a mobile game where you're running around a Toys R Us store for free.
And on your YouTube channel, you got a link to your online store. Hell, I don't even need to leave. You just caught my attention with the commercial. All I got to do is click, and I can start buying shit. I'm already in your virtual store.
And make it friendly, have people available to assist customers online. Yeah, okay, so, well, maybe they'll get the message. You don't think they've gotten it yet? Is that what you're thinking? Because it's all about.
I definitely have my doubts. There's the Toys R Us kid in me is hopeful, but the rationalist of me is telling me it's gonna not happen again.
Do me a favor. I don't know if anybody else listening to. If anybody's out there in YouTube land, maybe go to this store and take a video. I'm curious as to what it looks like.
Yeah.
And see, let us know if the mint ice cream is white or green.
There you go.
All right. Well, that about wraps it up for tonight. So again, I want to reiterate, Troy, you have a stream coming up on Friday with I
do. I did just want to say one last thing on the pack before we end. I've been following it throughout the stream. It's got 34 minutes and 17, 18, 19, 20, 20. It's gone up over 4,000 backers just while we've been streaming tonight. It is at 21,230 backers. It literally has 3 times the minimum number that it needed to get backed.
Over 21,000 Ghostbusters in the world. That would be what would Gozer do?
Well, that's an interesting thought, and that's something we may cover when we get to the
that'd be
sequels.
Funny if they did a Ghostbusters movie where it's like about a Ghostbusters army or something.
Yeah, right. Well, I'll tell you something else. Like I said, 34 minutes left. If you are hearing this right now live and have any interest in that proton pack, I would get over there and check it out now. We are not sponsored by Hasbro, so we don't have an affiliate link. We're just sharing this because if you want it, get it now. Otherwise, in 2 years, you'll be spending 2 and 3 times as much.
Yeah, so think about it. I know this is a hard time to be shopping.
But that's what credit cards were made for, people.
Okay. Anyway,
I mean, seriously.
That's true. Okay. Well, this was a good stream. So you have Friday. You have the late night. What's the name of the podcast?
So Friday at 9 Central, I will be streaming with Dino from the Late Late Horror Show. And we'll be talking about what he does and why you should be following him and why you will thank me later if you do. And we'll be talking about, horror shows of the past and radio dramas and Christmases long, long ago.
Christmases long, long ago.
Yep.
I was wondering what the Christmases long, long ago were supposed to be like.
Well, I mean, obviously, people like myself and Annette who have done the whole Victorian reenacting and stuff like that, we've really kind of studied it out. Christmas, as we know today, really owes most of its traditions to the Victorian era.
That's true.
So that's what you want to look at when you want to look at, the traditions of Christmases long ago. Now, nothing wrong with going back to, the Celts and the Vikings and, all those traditions that play into modern day, primordial Christmas and whatnot. And certainly the church and its connection to it,
right.
But how we celebrate it and the traditions that we enjoy today, that's all very Victorian. Just got this year for the first time, I got a recipe for sugar plums. Ooh. Which were not what I thought they were, and I may give that a try. It's another Alton Brown recipe. He's the one that did the free-range fruitcake that I've been talking about so avidly for so many years. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Victorian kids used to have visions of in their heads as they slept.
Yeah, you'll have to do a video on that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe I will.
Plums. What was I going to say though? But
in the coming weeks, I will also be doing another Klingon cooking video on my sister channel, Kartan the Klingon Cleric. I will be doing a recipe for Pipius Claw because we're coming up on the Feast of the Long Night, Ramnite, and the night before the Feast of the Long Night is celebrated with many, many fish. Human Italians can relate to that idea, and I'll be doing a video about that.
Cool.
And let's see what else we got this week. Do we got anything on Wednesday with Birdman?
Yeah, we're going to be doing soundtracks with Birdman. I believe we're doing Die Hard 2 this week. I know he's trying to have guests on this month for these, so I think he's seeing who can make what day, but I think we were planning for Die Hard 2. Either that or it's going to be Home Alone 2 or Gremlins. Those are the other ones we're covering this month. Also on Match 6 channel, I think we're going to be trying to do the Lupin the Third rewatch we missed last week because he was feeling under the weather. So
I gotcha.
Farewell to Nostradamus. So we'll be doing that then.
So that'll be Tuesday night.
Yes, and I'm trying to think what else we're doing this month. And Saturday you have Big Al stream with
Saturday over on Big Al. We're going to be watching
Scrooge.
Is that's not Alistair Sim? It's the other one, right?
No, it's Scrooge with Albert Finney.
Albert Finney. You're right. The musical
from
one.
the
I hate people. Yeah, exactly.
Wonderful song. Yes.
Yep. And
all right, cool.
That's about it, and that'll bring us around to next Sunday. So
okay, so y'all have a good night, have a good week.
Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Come back tomorrow and leave some comments. It really helps the channel.
Leave comments. Thank you. I appreciate that. You can call me a smelly crap face if you want, as long as you leave a comment. Okay.
Yeah, do it a couple times.
There you go.
That's called engagement. It helps the channel.
Engagement. Yeah. Because it's not like hitting the dislike button does anything anymore, right?
I can still see it. Although I think that this week that's all going to become legacy. I'll be able to see what it was, but on new ones I won't.
I see. Okay. Good to know. Well, y'all have a good week.
I know that there's no dislikes right now on this stream.
That's good.
But we've only got 5 likes.
Only 5 likes?
Hit the like button. That's partially I didn't hit like. I just hit like now. Now we got 6.
There you go. Well, 6 is better than 5.
7.
Right.
We're at 7. There we go.
There we go. And we're gonna hit the like button and listening to this on the
Thanks so much, everyone.
Hit it now. All right, y'all have a good week. We will see you again next week. Take care.
Bye-bye, everyone.